I would disagree. Just a reminder that Gloucestershire women won the toss and the batting first. Gloucestershire team today in batting order: Becca Halliday, Emily Monday, Thana Reddy, Mega Hearn, Emily Geach, Izzy Patel, Liv Daniels, Caitlin Felcher, Alice Hill, Charlie Phillips, and Alice Bird. And the Leicestershire team, I believe in correct batting order: Ellen Watson, Ellie Phillips, Caitlin Chisholm, Becky Brooker, Flora Davis, Sophie Grayson, Faith Tina Singh, Lucy Weston, April Baratka, Emma Thatcher, and Anjali Ketton. Thatcher's bar is both open and will be serving refreshments and food throughout the match day today. The official club shop is located at the Neville Road end of the ground within club reception. Visit the team there for unbeatable value on Gloucestershire County Cricket Club merchandise, memorabilia and other branded items.
Your words cut deeper than a knife. Now I need someone to breathe me back to life. Got a feeling that I'm going under, but I know that I'm making out alive. If I quit calling you my lover, move on. You watch me bleed until I can't breathe, shaking body up to my knees. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, tripping over myself, aching, begging you to go now. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches, just like a moth thrown to a flame. Oh, you let me in, I couldn't sense the pain. Your bitter heart goes to the side. Now I'm gonna reap what I sow. I'm left seeing red on my own. Got a feeling that I'm going under, but I know that I'm making out alive. If I quit calling you my lover, move on. You watch me bleed until I can't breathe, shaking body up to my knees.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the Seat Unique Stadium for this, well, what was to be part one of a double header. Gloucestershire against Leicestershire in the Women's Vitality Blast Division 2, followed by Gloucestershire against Surrey in the Men's Blast. But of course, the powers that be at the Great Television have decided that the Gloucestershire-Surrey match will be played now tomorrow. So we have a standalone game today between Gloucestershire women and the Leicestershire Foxes women. Ian Randall and Ed Seaborn will describe it to you at a beautifully sunny Bristol. Gloucestershire have won the toss and they're going to have a bat. First up, Ed will give you the Gloucestershire side in a minute. I'll give you the Leicestershire team. They have won 2 matches so far out of their 6. So qualification for the playoffs for them probably done. But they're going to be competitive. Becky Brooker is their captain. Faith Tikasing, Lucy Weston, Flora Davis, Ellen Watson, who will keep wicket, Caitlin Chisel, Sophie Grayson, Ellie Phillips, Anjari Katan, Emma Thatcher and April Herathki are their 11 for today. So Holly Whitfield and Amy Cahoon, the 2 players in the squad but not selected. They come out in their green and red with beautifully large white numbers on the back of their shirts and black trousers. Umpires today, Dean Daniels and Rema Chandaria. And Gloucestershire's 11, Ed, looks like what?
Not necessarily in this order, but what I can tell you for definite is that it's Becca Halliday and Emily Monday making their way to the middle to open the batting. Pratana Reddy, Meg Ahern will have the gloves today. Emily Geach, Izzy Patel, fairly familiar middle order. Liv Daniels, the skipper. Caitlin Belcher making just her second start after the return from a long-term injury. Great to see her back, and she was bowling in the warm-up as well, so I'm not going to say for definite whether she's available to bowl or not, but she's certainly very close to bowling as well as batting, which is another great sign. Alice Hill and Charlie Phillips, a couple of really experienced off-spin bowling options, and then Alice Bird, who will more than likely take the new ball when the time comes, but that time has not yet arrived because it's batting time for the Gloucesters.
And you're going to see Emma Thatcher, who bowls left arm, medium pace, to open the bowling from the Bristol pavilion end. Comes in and immediately pushed out into the offside by Emily Monday. No run. And at this point in the innings, they only have 1 fielder outside the circle, which is at deep mid-wicket. So Leicestershire looking to...
There's a long on as well.
There's a long on behind the pillar, down the leg side, and signalled as a wide by umpire Daniels.
It wouldn't be completely unprecedented, I must say, for this season, because I covered a game at Exmouth between Somerset's women and the Blaze, that one was, where for almost the entire power play, Somerset only had 1 out.
Thatcher in again, and first run for Emily Monday up towards that fielder at long on, who was just behind the pillar, which blocks that corner of our commentary position. Sophie Grayson coming in to field, and Monday off the mark. Obviously, technically on a loan from Devon at the moment, but obviously was in the Storm Academy before going off on a bit of a circuitous route to come back, and Halliday blocks that as Thatcher forces her onto the defensive. Had a long spell with Derbyshire before making the short journey to their East Midland rivals. Only about 6 paces, and Halliday again tries to punch that through the offside, but stopped inside the circle, so no chance of a run. Tika Singh with doing the fielding. She may open the batting if other teams, other selections from Leicestershire this season have any kind of steer. She's opened in 1, 2, 3, 4 of their other games. Halliday tries to pull that into the leg side. There's a stop at square leg. It was almost a catch, but in the end they've managed to scamper through for a single. Fielder just in front of the umpire. It fell short. It was never going to be a half volley catch, but the shot was not played with complete control.
Oh, the run out as well. There's an opportunity to flick that back onto the stumps.
Thatcher in. Again, and Emily Munday can't force that away. So there was one wide in that over, but still only 2 singles off the bat, 3 without loss at the start here. Leicestershire have got some spin options, as all these women's teams seem to do. April Herathke and Anjali Katan in particular will both bowl leg breaks probably, so I may see them in tandem later on.
Yeah, and with Thatcher, a real rarity and luxury for the Foxes to have Thatcher as a left arm option with the new ball. You do not see many left armers and indeed left-handed batters in the women's game. It's still something that is a big difference, even just transposing it up to the international level. When, if you're watching that terrific semi-final that England had last night, where Marizanne Kapp was able to run in and just hit her lines and lengths for 4 overs straight because she was bowling only at right-handers. So it will be Ellie Phillips, and that looks as if it could well be the first boundary. The ball just trickling down towards the rope. It's just pulled back in by Thatcher. Munday wanted to come back for 3, but they'll settle for 2, and a bit of a slice of fortune possibly for Gloucestershire there, as that one seemed to cut Becca Halliday in half. But again, good to see Halliday back. She's back from concussion, which was sustained in the County Cup knockout fixture. Struck firmly, thunderously to the boundary. And we know that that is a strong region for Becca Halliday. She scored 70 off only 46 balls in the fixture on this ground against Worcestershire, when Gloucestershire got off the mark as far as home T20 blast was concerned. And that particular part of the ground took a peppering on that day, and that's the first time she's targeted it.
Yeah, batted really well that day.
Yeah, it was a great mixture of power and placement. And firmly struck straight to the fielder at mid-off this time. And Ellie Phillips, who, speaking of Worcestershire, she picked up a 5 in the one-day cup fixture that Leicestershire had against Worcestershire. Wickets against Gloucestershire in the one-day cup fixture between these sides. Gloucestershire looking to avoid Leicestershire doing the double this year, with Leicestershire winning the 50-over fixture. Again, well struck, and Halliday frustrated that she's hit it straight to extra cover.
Interesting, some of the scores in the 20-over competition. And in that 50-over game, Gloucestershire got 230. And still that wasn't enough. I mean, Chisel, Watson and Davis all got runs for Leicestershire that day.
Goes squarer this time. Halliday wants a run which isn't there, and a good call from Munday to send Becca Halliday back, because there was a bit of a misfield, but the fielder there at square leg, Herathke, managed to keep the ball in front of her, which was the key part. So Phillips responding well after the early boundary in the over. Oh, could be a stumping chance, it is. Halliday taking that risk with the keeper up to the stumps of using her feet. It was a wide ball. I don't know whether Phillips saw her coming. We'll possibly get a chance to look on the replay here, because Halliday had to reach for it. And no, she came fairly late, and it was a wide. I think that's just a bit of serendipity as far as Leicestershire are concerned, but they will absolutely take it. Good glove work behind the stumps from Watson, and Gloucestershire lose a key wicket. Halliday, somebody that not only scores big runs, but scores them very quickly. And it's 9 for 1 after 2 overs.
Yeah, and that was probably a wider ball actually than the one that went for 4 earlier, off the edge earlier in the over. But it's worth pointing out that Watson is a Scotland international, as well as playing obviously at this level. So it didn't look a particularly difficult stumping, but what she did do was she was calm in what she was doing.
Yeah, still had a long way to bring it back to the stumps, and just managed to whip those bails off before Halliday could make her ground. So Reddy's the new batter. There is still a ball left in the over because, of course, it was signalled a wide. And a dot ball to end straight to short mid-wicket. So that is the end of 2 overs at 10 for 1. I don't know in how many of those Scotland internationals. She's got 42 caps for Scotland, but I doubt in many of those she'd have kept wicket because of Sarah Bryce, getting the gloves off of Sarah Bryce.
Who was at the Blaze, is that right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And she did play Watson as recently as the tri-series that Scotland played against Bangladesh and the Netherlands to warm up for the, I suppose, still just about going Women's T20 World Cup, but it wasn't required in the most recent of those games.
So third over, Emily Monday facing, and it's Thatcher again, and you squeezed that past the fielder at short straight mid-wicket, and they will get a single. So unsurprisingly, at this point, you won't see a slip fielder anywhere on your screen.
Yes, they didn't start with one even, but of course the left arm swinging it in makes it far less likely that the slip will be brought into play anyway.
So 4 saving 1 on the offside, 3 on the leg side and 2 out. Thatcher then to Reddy for the first time and plays it in the V up to mid-off, which is where Leicestershire captain Becky Brooker is. Yeah, Thatcher took wickets regularly in her time at Derbyshire, even though even at this point she's only in her second season at Leicester, but steady accumulation of wickets at I forget what's the Derbyshire spot. We won't name it. There is a sponsored name, isn't there, at Derbyshire?
Gosh, I don't ever bother to remember these.
No. So
it's just the county ground.
It is in the main. Thatcher running away from us from the Bristol Pavilion, and that's played into the gap. That's a good placement from Prathana Reddy. That might go all the way to the rope. It will win the race between ball and fielders. Didn't really appear to hit that hard. That was all about the placement. And even though there was a fairly square cover and a point, it absolutely bisected them and ran away for Reddy's first boundary.
Just pitched up a little bit more, and it's you've got a bit of a license to do that. The ball is swinging a bit, but equally Reddy, when she drives through that offside, is a very pretty player to watch.
Thatcher, that's a bit shorter, and backing away, Reddy can't get it past Tika Singh on the offside, so she will have another scoring opportunity in this, the third over. Gloucestershire deciding to bat after winning the toss. Thatcher, not a very long one. That's aerial, but safe into the gap between the two fielders, are out on the leg side to the colloquially named cow corner, and a profitable over in the end for Gloucestershire with a second boundary off the last ball, and a good powerful strike too from Prathana Reddy, and she has 8. Emily Monday has 2, as you can see on your screen. There's the actual run rate in this early stage, 19 for 1. I mean, Gloucestershire in this competition, they won defending 191 against Kent.
It's a high-scoring game, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah. And they won by 37 runs in the last game against Derbyshire, defending 172. That's the kind of numbers they love to get to here.
It's big playing surface, but as we've already seen from the first Reddy boundary, the outfield is absolutely rapid. Once you beat that infield, you're going to get value for your shots, and with it being a large playing surface, there's plenty of gaps. Monday struck on the pad. Reddy's come a long way down. There will be a throw, but I think back would have been.
There was quite
Reddy.
a bit of chat on at the men's game on Wednesday about the number of twos that there could have been.
Yeah.
Because the playing area, the boundary set right back for that game.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of twos available here. Phillips continuing drop and run. And that will be a good run, despite the fact that Reddy's had to get down and dirty to complete it. But I think even if the throw had hit, that would have been a safely run single. Have a bit of a chat about it, but it's something that I think we're still starting to see, and I'd use this phrase, starting to see more and more of in the women's game, that drop and run. 25-yard circle rather than a 30-yard circle does make it a little bit harder, but it's still possible to get those sorts of singles. Well, that's a lovely shot. Took a bit of a bounce on the fielder at cover. She looked as if she had that, and then it just bobbled over her. So a bit of a friendly home bounce, and Reddy has another boundary through the offside, and again just timing, stroking it through, and the outfield will do the rest. 3 boundaries already for Pradhana Reddy, and she is looking in fine touch in the early part of her innings.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Faith Tikasing, who is the fielder. Just moving round, actually. They've put an extra fielder now on the offside inside the circle.
Extra cover in mid-wicket, quite close. Driving again, and that one, no stopping. 3 can pursue it to the boundary, but they're only going to go and fetch it from beyond the boundary rope. This is really lovely batting from Pradhana Reddy, who's a... I suppose it's... I never really like using this word, classical, but when you think of Monday and Halliday, they are strong hitters of the ball. Reddy's shown that she can hit powerfully as well in the previous over, but you associate her more with those elegant drives and clips, and there's plenty of space for both types of players, especially in T20. Well down the leg side, and that's the problem with the keeper up. We've seen how effective it can be as far as the stumping of Halliday, but that's occasionally the price you pay, especially with the swinging ball. You just get a little bit greedy in terms of the in-swing, and it beats the keeper and goes down for 5 wide. So Gloucestershire losing an early wicket, but now racing along in terms of the run rate. 33 on the board in the 4th over.
And 14 off this over already.
And a change of field. Now, I think probably a slightly more defensive move to put that fielder back on the offside boundary. Reddy tries to go leg side, appeal for LBW, not out.
Only from the bowler, interestingly.
Umpire Chandaria at that far end.
Oh, going down leg side.
It looked, there's swing there still in the 4th over. There's some serious hooping in swing, which unfortunately from Phillips's point of view, she got too much of the previous ball, but I suppose too much there to get the LBW, but beat her. Played into the leg side. They've got that quite well stacked with a forward square and a mid-wicket in quite close, and the forward square leg stops it. So Gloucestershire, in that over especially, getting some acceleration in the power play. And it's been all ready so far, with Monday just facing the 6 deliveries, somebody who very often is the aggressor. And we talk about long-term injuries earlier on as well. Amelie Monday, great to see her back on a cricket field, wherever that might be. Was on Somerset's books last year, played in the top tier of the T20 Blast for Somerset, but an ACL injury, and I think even possibly another foot injury on top of it, something like that. So it's been a really,
you know all about foot injuries, don't you?
Road back. Oh gosh, yeah.
Sorry,
it can be. Yes, a bit of a long walk to freedom, but yeah, great to see her back, and with this chance at Gloucestershire, because she's a devastating player, as she's proven.
Caitlin Chisel into the attack from the Bristol Pavilion end, off the back foot. Should be certainly 1, and that's all it will be. Brooker does the fielding. So Thatcher, 2 overs for 12. 2 overs saved for later. Chisel bustling in, close to the stumps. And that's again found the gap. Pleasantly driven. There will be a chase from Faith Tegersink, but she won't haul the ball in. And another boundary and another offside boundary as well. So although the Leicestershire bowlers in the main keeping to bowling one side of the wicket, they can't put enough fielders on the offside, it seems, at the moment, because Gloucestershire are picking the holes.
She scored an unbeaten 91 against Leicestershire at Grace Road last year to Reddy, so slotting back in here seemingly.
That one is on the leg side, and they'll work that away to deep mid wicket. Throw coming in from Flora Davis, who's out there.
But again, that's good to see. You don't get the impression, even though she's found the boundary quite a lot, you don't get the impression that she's hunting for the boundary, just taking the single that was on offer there.
Monday waits for the next delivery, which is again pushed out into the offside. I mean, Reddy has not got a significant contribution in the T20 or indeed really in the 50 over this season. Not played all the games, obviously, but you wouldn't think so the way she's set about this so far today. She's also getting very close to that. It would be the right-hander's leg stump. And again, smart work to get the single. Conscious of keeping the board ticking along particularly in the power play when only 2 fielders out. And as I said earlier, you can have fewer than 2 if you want. Chisel springs off at the start of her run, and again that's another well-run single to Thatcher at mid-on. So some good calling out there at the moment between these two. And first over cost 8 from Caitlin Chisel. The Leicestershire record in this competition, they've surprisingly beaten Middlesex away, which is, given how strong Middlesex were here at Bristol, is a surprising score.
We've started to see some surprises, haven't we?
And then they beat Sussex, who are at the bottom of the table, by 1 wicket in a very close game where they were chasing 131. So
from a Gloucestershire point of view, the table is so crowded. We haven't really talked about it. There's one normal wins worth in terms of 4 points between Gloucestershire in 6th and Middlesex in 2nd. And it looked as though Glamorgan and Middlesex would just absolutely run away with it. And then it would potentially be a question of which of them would get that automatic place in the final. But it hasn't really worked out that way. Catan into the attack with her leg breaks. And Reddy just having to respect that first delivery. So from a Gloucestershire point of view, I think we can pretty much say, there's width on offer, but a swing and a miss, that if they win their last 2 games, they have a very high chance of being in the mix with enough points, and then it comes down to all sorts of other things as far as final stage is concerned. Oh, she's bowled her round her legs, I think. Off bail is off. And Catan has the key wicket of Reddy, given how she was playing. Gone for 22. And we'll have a second look at that, because she was going for the sweep shot. Missed it. Let's have a look here how much that's turned. Or is it... Oh, no, goodness, that is a bit unfortunate. Off the pad, and I think it's bounced up potentially even onto a glove. And then the backswing has sent it onto the stumps. Because to start with, I thought, has that turned that much round her legs?
Just the leg bail.
It's the off bail, I think.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let's have a look from the reverse angle. This might give us a better look. Or no look at all. It seemed to hit pad, and then I wasn't sure whether it bounced up off that and hit the glove on the backswing, but Reddy will think that's a little bit unfortunate. Catan will say, well, that's what you get for trying to sweep me. And it's 41 for 2. And that brings Mega Hearn to the middle.
22 off 16. That was a brief but bright cameo.
Yes, funnily enough, bright was the word I was going to use as well. Ahern on the drive straight away, ricochets off the extra cover fielder, but
I heard Fran Wilson talk about the match last week against Derbyshire, which I'll come back to perhaps in a minute.
oh, that's nicely bowled. Looking to make space for herself, Ahern, but it wasn't that wide or that short. And this is a cracking end to the power play for Leicestershire. 1 ball to go in the over. And that, as it's played straight to cover, will complete a wicket maiden for Catan, who has really put a stop on things for Gloucestershire. They were looking in a great position to dominate this power play, and now maybe honours even just with Leicestershire after the momentum of that over.
Yeah, so Fran Wilson spoke about sort of how the middle order runs got them to that 172 with both Ezzy Patel and Emily Geach making significant contributions. Patel 46, Geach 38. And Meg Hearn's actually been scoring steadily herself. So it's going to be perhaps, again, the middle order that's going to have to do the job for Gloucestershire here. And it's going to be April Harathki on the first over after the power play from this Bristol Pavilion end.
Yeah, she's striking at 128 Meg Hearn in T20s this season, which is a very good number.
So she's like some of the other players on the women's circuit. She's studying, she's doing medicine at Nottingham. What can she concoct here? That's, again, leg break is her stock delivery. That's a little bit short, really, for what she would ideally like, and it's turned away for a single. So Leicestershire debut 2023, so been on the circuit a little while. But medicine's a long degree, isn't it? So
yes.
I don't know which year she's in, but
captaining the university cricket team alongside that.
Again, a bit short, forced off the back foot by Ahern, but straight to Brooker at mid-off.
Again, you just can't have anything but respect for so many of these players. The amount of things in Tier 2 that the players are juggling.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Harathki, quite a high leap as she bowls, and that's let go by Ahern outside the off stump. Through to keeper Watson.
Wanted a wide, but yeah, it's a bit of turn though.
Looped right up this time, given a lot of air by Harathki, and Ahern will stroke that up to Thatcher at long on. They'll only take one, but now with the power play gone, Leicestershire can change things if they want. They've got 3 out on the leg side and a sweeper on the cover boundary as well. Harathki into Mundy's clip that in the air, but it's dropped short of the fielder coming in from deep square. Ellie Phillips couldn't reach it, and she'll get a slightly fortunate single. I think if she'd middled that, it could have almost gone straight to the fielder.
I think what she was trying to do was get, as it were, inside the ball and help it a bit finer. I just got it squarer.
Harathki to the long-haired Meg Hearn. You see her hair hanging out of the back of that head guard, and she's come back for 2. That's well run. Keeper throw to the keeper's end, to the non-striker's end, as you were, from Caitlin Chisel, but got back for 2, and 46 for 2. There's the Manhattan with the Gloucestershire over by over analysis, and the little circle you see there is the maiden that was bowled by Catan last over from the far end.
Yes, that's the builder with his or her head just poking up above the foundations that have been laid, but no building had happened. So 8th over, and the barrage of leg spin will continue by the looks of things, and certainly no reason to change it. It is pegging Gloucestershire back at the moment. These two needing to form a bit of a partnership. Oh, what's that come off? I think just pad potentially, looping wide of the keeper. But there is some bounce in this surface, because I think it was the bounce that did Ready as much as anything else, and then there again. And to me, this looks like an absolute cracker of a pitch again.
There's been some good ones at Bristol this season. I mean, I'm sure that there'd be one particular analyst who would say, it's a question from my winter, if he was asked, well, missed the last time that a Gloucestershire men's T20 match only had 4 wickets fall when it ran the full distance.
Yeah,
that pitch played very well on Wednesday night.
Swept round the corner. There's nobody at short fine and nobody at fine leg. And the ball will just have enough on it to go. So it is a long boundary. And enough on that from Meg Ahern. And that is certainly a welcome one from a Gloucestershire perspective, just to release some of the pressure. Just strange innings, really. I mentioned Monday, her strike rate is normally right up there, but she's only faced 13 balls in 7.5 overs. So hasn't really been able to get the kind of strike to get her innings really going. Nicely flighted, fuller delivery there. And plenty of protection on the offside. They're still keeping extra cover and mid-wicket in tight, which I quite like, just to not give Gloucestershire any old easy single. They have to find the gap like that, and that's exactly what is done. And also really good to see the pace that they ran that first run, because the previous over at the end of it, coming back for 2, even though the ball was hit almost straight to the fielder, those 2s I figure will play a significant part in this game. Top edge, but again, nobody behind square on the leg side, and as a consequence, with the amount of ground that Herathke has to make off the deep square leg boundary, they can take 2 runs. So that's a better over from a Gloucestershire point of view, with a boundary and then a couple to finish. 54 for 2 after 8 overs. It's nicely poised, and I think what I particularly have enjoyed from the first 8 overs is that the seamers got it through beautifully. The pitch looked really nice and true. There was a bit of swing, which obviously isn't anything to do with the curator, but in terms of the fact that there was a bit of swing, something there for the seamers, pace there as well. Reddy was able to time her drives, and now we've seen the leg spinners just get a little bit out of it, particularly in terms of bounce. And I think from a T20 pitch, pretty much ticks the boxes, doesn't it?
Ed is available to do other Jeff Lemon impressions if requested. Herathke to continue from...
no, my voice isn't that low.
The Bristol end. Off the back foot this time from Meg Ahern, out to deep cover. Lucy Watson's the fielder out there patrolling, well, actually on both sides of the... She's switching in that position to both bowlers at the moment. A bit of a chat between Ahern and Emily Mundy after that last delivery. Mundy goes for the little paddle round the corner off a ball where she had enough time to step inside the line, and they'll come back for 2.
Well, it's a risky option, but the reward is any sort of contact and it's 2, and good contact and it's 4. And also now, you so often, there we go, you just play that shot once. You only have to play it once, you don't have to middle it, but almost every captain would change the field after that. So the short mid-wicket is gone, and now there's a single anywhere on the leg side apart from to short fine leg.
Yeah, the 3 fielders on the leg side are at deep square, just behind the umpire, right on the rope, deep mid-wicket, and at long on. And that's actually hit so forcefully that there's only going to be 1 run. You might have thought there would have been 2 almost anywhere out there, but Flora Davis got her return in quite quickly and kept them down to a single. So the batter's out. Halliday stumped by Watson or Phillips for 5, and Reddy bowled by Kitan for 22. Here is Herathke, also a leg spinner, and that's worked by Ahern again out to the sweeper in front of the scoreboard for a single.
It'd be interesting to see whether Leicestershire think, okay, the diet of leg spin, whether we need to change things up for the next over. It might depend whether they get a wicket at the end of this one.
Giving a short approach and steered by Mundy off the back foot out to Watson for a single. So far, 6 boundaries, but 7 boundaries rather, but Reddy hit 5 of them and she is now out. Harathki to a Hearn. Again, back foot was the favourite shot, but straight to the fielder this time. And as Chisel does the fielding, it's the end of the 9th over, so almost to halfway. Not easy to judge where Gloucestershire might get to at this point. They want probably a minimum of 140, bit more if they could.
Yeah, you mentioned the cut shot for Mega Hearn. You find me a keeper batter who the cut shot isn't one of their favourite shots, and maybe the answer, especially after last night, might be Amy Jones. She cut that ball straight to point. She's just so strong through the leg side, but most keeper batters tend to be strong cutters. A little dab and a miss, as it will be Catan to continue for a 3rd over. So the Leicestershire skipper Becky Brooker deciding not to change up the leg spin simultaneous action. Well swept for a single with square leg back on the boundary, and for both batters now, Leicestershire will have a short fine leg, so the paddle no longer an easy option. And Hearn, she's done many a time hopping back and cutting. Oh, Mundy wants to come back for 2, and the throw will now come to the striker's end, which won't be in time, but I have to have a look at that again to see whether actually if Catan had just taken the stumps that were closer to her, if she'd managed to maybe back flick it. So I'll get a look here. Even though Monday was quicker, maybe she'd have been home anyway. Short, pulled away. Fielder at deep square will flop towards the ball. Make sure that it's there in front of her. Will Grayson out there. And again, they are back for 2. So that time, well, it wasn't really a misfield. It was just an attempt to keep the ball under control. But they are pushing the running between the sticks, these two. And Hearn might fancy a second run here as well. Hot work out there, but Monday will come back. Didn't hesitate, and the shovel will not be in time. Again, if that throw had been right over the stumps, Monday might have been in trouble, but
I think
it's going to test what is. She's obviously been back for a little while now, Monday, but it's going to test a knee that's had a lot of rehab done on it coming back for these 2s, especially in this heat. Again, short enough of a length that it can be played off the back foot. No boundaries in the over. Gloucestershire keeping the board ticking. Halfway stage, 68 for 2. So wickets in hand. And as you mentioned, Ian, the middle order has scored runs and scored at a good rate. But they'll be having those discussions out in the middle at the moment. You can see the long chat between Monday and Hearn in terms of what sort of number do they want to be to, or at least in 3 or 4 overs time, where do we want to be?
Yeah, there's probably all sorts of mini targets. So Caitlin Chisel coming back at this Bristol Pavilion end. Harathki 2 overs for 11. Chisel's first over cost 8. And she will bowl to a Hearn. That's wide though, outside the off stump, and taken by keeper Ellen Watson.
Is this, we confirmed this is one of the pitches that was used for the World Cup, or yes?
Thank you, Laurie.
Thought it looked as if it probably was, but
Chisel. And again, that's
No.
sliced off a thickish edge, but it was a cross between a slice and a steer, really, down to third man. There is a third man protecting that boundary at the Ashley Down Road, and so just one to Mega Hearn.
No, so it must be the one to the right of the World Cup pitch.
Monday on 15 goes, was going for the scoop and got it off the bottom end of the bat. And not for once, not enough bounce to play that shot. She could have almost got right down to be able to play it from a very, very low angle. That wasn't going to happen. Third man has come up inside the circle. Chisel again going close to the stumps. That's hit over the top, or attempting over the top from Monday. She should get at least two. They might run one on the arm, but Brooker's going to get that in quickly, and they won't take a third on the throw.
Yeah, moving about a lot in the crease Monday, but was still when she hit it over the top. And second time she's done that in terms of trying to access a vacant fine leg region. You can see what she was going for with the scoop off the previous ball.
Chisel tries the bouncer. That actually was very short, but it was a genuine bouncer, and Monday tried to pull it and got underneath it and didn't get a touch.
Well bowled. I mean, she's got some pace, as Caitlin Chisel, and she must have anticipated that Monday might try that ramp again after having not tried it the previous ball, with the field still the same. And now, because she needs to bowl full, having used up a bouncer, they're going to put the short fine leg in just to protect that attempted ramp.
Now the players who've come up from a tier 3 team and change of pace, and Monday doesn't read it. She was playing at Dorset until the end of last season, signed during the winter. They talk about pathways. Teams in tier 1 always spotting players in tier 2, tiers 2 to tier 3, the same situation. That's down the leg side. That will be given as a wide. You've always got to be aware of, people you've seen or heard about, and go and watch them, I'm sure several times before you think about saying, would you be interested? What's the cricket work-life balance? Can you make it work for you? Chisel in once more. Monday will get that past the dive of Tika Singh. Brooker won't haul that in initially. She might chase it inside the rope, though. They've come back. They're going for 2 and they want 3, and they'll get 3. That's well run. Pace of the shot just allowed them to do that. It stopped just in front of the rope. And 76 for 2 after 11, so 8 off the over. And it's been, aside from that one maiden that Katan bowled, it's been a steady rate for Gloucestershire, aren't they? I mean, if you saw the worm screen, which James might put up in a minute or two, you'll see it's been quite a steady track. There it is.
There we are, yes. It's, well, it's not quite a flat worm, but...
You get the idea.
Yeah.
About a steady track, don't you?
Definitely. There's
so
not much
Katan
deviation there.
has got 1 over left, and she's going to bowl it now.
Yeah, so 1 for 16. I think this is what you want as a leggy in a T20, isn't it? You get your 4 overs out the way well before the death. Little reverse attempt from Monday. Continuing to bring out the tricks, but just for a single. Certainly, at least giving Leicestershire something to think about in terms of manipulating the field, even if she's yet to really middle one of these attempted paddles or ramps. Hearn looking for some power down the ground.
Occurs to me, I mean, Hearn is 19 off 19, and when I've seen her bat on other occasions here in Bristol, it almost as if she doesn't like a dot.
It's a good trait to have in T20. Yeah. Monday, go for that reverse paddle again. It's just not that much pace to use. It's a good piece of fielding, actually, at short third from Chisel, especially after having just bowled her over.
It looks as if Meg's challenge to herself is, can I find a scoring opportunity of every ball, even if it's only one run?
Yeah. Again, it's so important, isn't it? You'd anticipate you're going to find the boundary at some point. She's looking to find the boundary now. That perilously close to leg stump, and I think rightly not called a wide by umpire Chandaria, because she stepped across, and that probably would have hit her on the pad if she'd stayed in her original position. So there is a dot ball. It'll be followed up by a single. You just get the sense that particularly Ahern now is starting, as much as she wants to find singles, when she's finding the singles, they are attempted boundary shots. Gloucestershire do want to accelerate a bit here. They've got a good platform, but now they want to make the most of it. There goes Monday looking for the power game as well. Shorter boundary down there, so it's harder to pick up two, although as it turned out, if they had gone for it, the pickup not clean in the well, I say on the boundary, it was off the boundary. So they probably could have been able to come back for a second, but another over goes by. That is Ketan bowled out.
1 for 21.
Yeah, so far she has been the pick of the Leicestershire bowlers. So maybe from the Gloucestershire perspective, just worth not quite seeing her out, because they were trying to access the boundaries in that over, but maybe just not quite go absolutely all out on the attack.
I think that's Melissa Story running the drinks out there, and may have been a message as well, I would have thought. That's why that...
Well, I can't imagine she wouldn't have had something to say.
So a bowling change now at the Bristol Pavilion, and we haven't seen Lucy Weston before, but we're going to see her now. May well bat towards the top of the order, but been at Leicestershire since she was 10, so very much a product of their youth system. Keeper Watson standing up, and there's going to be a simple stumping first ball. Monday gives her the charge and got in a bit of a tangle with the shot she wanted to play, and a very, very simple stumping, and Monday is out for 23, 81 for 3.
Just didn't really turn, and Monday's played inside that one. As much as that, also the length having come down the pitch, the length was such that she would have then had to be playing almost off the back foot whilst down the pitch, which is hard to do. And for Monday, a strange innings really. I don't know how many times in her career she'd have not hit a boundary in, I suppose, 28 balls in the end of batting. She didn't give it away early on Monday when she wasn't getting much of the strike. And I think it'd just be a strange feel to her innings. She's somebody that is so used to targeting boundaries, but today just not quite able to do so. And that's 3 batters into the 20s. Now it's kind of incumbent upon Ahern, you might say, to be the one that goes on to get a big score for Gloucestershire.
Well, these are two of the ones who, Emily Geach coming in at number 5. These are two of the batters who have made steady middle order runs throughout the summer.
I suppose you can do it that way in T20 as well. You can do it where everybody gets a 20 or a 30.
Geach facing her first ball and off the mark straight away, with a steer out to the sweeper on the cover fence.
Somebody hasn't taken their antihistamines down there.
Sprinkling of spectators in front of the Thatchers, and a handful around in the mound stand. Weston into bowl, and Ahern again always looking for that ability to rotate the strike and keep the score ticking along. Can they survive? I use the word in that context for the next 4 or 5 overs just doing that, I wonder. Does that get them far enough? Around the wicket to the left-handed Geach, and she's fired that away. That may go for 4. There's a long chase around there for Flora Davis, and she won't haul it in. And that was a wide full toss, and Emily Geach, despite having faced one previous delivery, knew exactly what she wanted to do with it.
Yeah, I think whatever mode you're in, when you get a ball like that, you've got to play a boundary shot to it.
Weston in once more, and good stop from April Harathke, who's inside the circle at short extra.
Ooh.
Short, almost a bouncer, and given as a wide.
Sorry, excuse the Frankie Howard noise, but
yeah.
that almost looked like it was I think that was a deliberate ploy to go for the bouncer,
Well,
which is great. Just a shame it was a bit wide.
It's the equivalent of Phil Tufnell bowling one. Geach doesn't get a timing on that. Again, Harathke just does the fielding. So a very mixed over, shall we say, from Lucy Weston. A wicket with the first ball, a bouncer that possibly only her colleague as keeper was expecting. And there is the run rate for Gloucestershire, which has
plateaued.
Yes, that's a good word to use. 88 for 3 with 7 overs to go. I still think 140 minimum.
It's just got to make sure that it doesn't turn into a Mesa.
Sorry, what's a Mesa?
I believe that is the name for a sort of flat-topped mountain, such as you often get in the sort of far west of the United States, of Arizona and Utah, those sorts of states. Back comes Chisel, and that's edged. But they do have protection down at deep third. And well, it would have been a lovely piece of bowling well, it was a lovely piece of bowling anyway, but it would have been a particularly lovely piece of bowling if it ever got to the stage of Tier 2 red ball cricket, because there you probably would have had a couple of slips in and would have gobbled up the outside edge. But as it is in T20, you tend to know that you've got a fairly free swing of the arms when you're presented with that amount of width, and if you get an edge, so be it. There's usually not anybody there to take the catch.
And from Gloucestershire's point of view, it's just a small change, but Emily Geach is the only left-hander in the squad.
It is so useful, isn't it? And already it is producing a couple of wides from Leicestershire, which I suppose you take the 5 in one go out. There's not been a huge number of wides in this innings, but just a couple in the last couple of overs, because you just get so used to bowling at right-handers in the women's game. Oh, Geach tried to pick that one up into the leg side. Bat onto pad, I think, and trickling away.
The hand went up straight away, didn't it? That was the definite no-run option.
Yeah, she's had some injury issues to work around as well, as Emily Geach bunted away to mid-on. Hit and run, really. Throw may have caused Geach some problems if it had hit direct, but it did need to be a direct hit. Get a look at the replay, but you can see initially absolutely no hesitation in going for that single. Gave herself the best possible chance of making it, but I think a direct hit, and she may have been a goner.
I remember back at the media day, obviously she's sponsored by the Gloucestershire Exiles, Emily Geach.
Oh, a long way down the leg side and well tidied up by Watson
and
back there.
Just gives me a chance to say that I think there is an Exiles Day at Cheltenham this year, which will be, I think, the Saturday of the Worcestershire match, day 3. Always a big gathering of those from further afield who like to reacquaint themselves with Gloucestershire one day a year.
Whacked away over the top of backward point. Fielder from deep third should just get there. Oh, she did get there, but then the knee stuck in the ground and the ball's gone for 4.
Yeah. 2 extra bonus runs for Gloucestershire there, because Harathke would have expected to have stopped that.
She did all the hard work. I mean, actually, it was just, you see that left knee just sticking in the ground rather than sliding. the hard Bristol outfield.
I can think of a few
Possibly,
club cricketers who would put a boot down to stop it.
Picked up, swung into the leg side. There is a fielder out at deep straight mid-wicket.
It was a
as well
kind,
to keep it
that
to
was a,
one.
that was a kind bounce, actually, for Sophie Grayson, because that could have gone past her shoulder, but it sat up at a nice height, so as a consequence, she got the throw in quickly.
Speaking of the Exiles, I believe I'm right in saying they are sponsoring a women's Exiles Player of the Year award for the first time this year, if I remember rightly. So continuing to do a lot of good work raising money for the Gloucestershire women's side of things as well as the men's, as that will end the over with a dot ball, but a decent over for Gloucestershire with a boundary, a couple of wides, but still the run rate just below sevens, 97 for 3.
Terry Blake saying there's a huge range of drinks behind the bar. Well, there'll be nobody from the commentary box or indeed the playing team doing any of that until
Well, I don't know. I might go down and get a lemonade at halfway. Just leave you to hold the fort for that.
So 6 overs to go. Thatcher's got 2 left. Phillips has got 2 left, but we're going to continue to see Lucy Weston had a wicket in her first over, and she's hit over the top of mid-off here, and that will, I think, beat Brooker to the rope just. Brave chase from the captain, but she couldn't hold it in, and Gloucestershire with Meg Ahern just starting to press her foot on the accelerator here. 101 for 3. All tossed right up, and Ahern got that off the kind of the inside half of the bat. Really, it probably should have gone to mid off. It ended up going to long on, and therefore only 1.
That was a bit of a SOS shot from Ahern, though, having come down the pitch, almost crept under, so just looking to make any sort of contact.
Now for Geach, they're changing the field a bit with only 1 saving a single on the leg side. Geach tries to pierce the gap on the offside past the hand of Herathki. They want 2, and they're just about going to make it. That was almost had 2 of them at one end at that one stage, but Emily Geach answered the call. Ahern thought perhaps the throw was going to come to the non-striker's end, and therefore she was running to the danger end, and she went quickly, but it left Geach rather catching up.
It was a strong throw, but just a little bit wide, but even
Weston
so.
floating that up once more. Geach wants 1, and she'll get it to Brooker at mid-off.
Yeah, they have run well, Gloucestershire. They've taken a couple of chances, but so far they've paid off and looking to push the field.
You have to do that, don't you? Watson was a bit straighter, even though the flight would indicate it might have almost ended up as a full toss if Ahern had come down the pitch to it. Watson again, better line, which means that Ahern can just force it up to Thatcher at long on for 1. Clearly a young player of steady ability, Meg Ahern. I mean, forget she's still only 17.
Well, yeah, I mean she was called up to an England under-19
made a
squad
debut
for the
last
first time.
year, and here she is, the glue of this innings now, hopefully until the conclusion from a Gloucestershire perspective.
And it's what's so lovely about this league tier, whatever you want to say. There are so many different stages of people's careers and also things that they're looking to get out of it. Ahern is somebody who's a part of the Glamorgan Academy. Glamorgan are going to become professional next year. They'll join Tier 1 if she continues tracking well and scoring runs.
This is Grayson.
There's every chance as, it's going to be played into the leg side for 2. And, well, looking slightly disappointed. It's Phillips,
It's
is
Phillips.
it not? Yeah, I was going to say, just hesitated a little bit, but it is Phillips back for a third over. But you've got Ahern at that stage. You've got, I suppose, that somebody like an Emily Geach at the non-striker's end, and that's whacked up to mid-off. Come through for a single again. Ahern's quick enough to make it. Likes of Geach and Patel, I suppose, would be in that category as well, of players who were part of the previous regional setups academy, still keeping those sorts of players in the game when they might otherwise have dropped out. You've got somebody like Amelie Mundo, who's played a bit of Tier 1 cricket and is now getting the chance to show what she can do in Tier 2. And also you've got some, I mean, just from the Gloucestershire point of view, you've got somebody like Alice Hill, Charlie Phillips, people who've played for Gloucestershire for years, still getting to play for Gloucestershire. Oh, she's almost wiped out Ahern at the non-striker's end there as Geach. Ahern having to duck. Just a single. Let's have a look at this again, especially from this angle. Whoa. Not that far off.
Eye on the ball.
Yes, and
all
then
the time.
Again, the key part is that you take your eye off it before it then hits you on the helmet. Well, she just gave her the little shimmy there, Meg Ahern, and Phillips, who already has one stumping off her bowling, got Becca Halliday that way. She fired it wide thinking that Ahern was coming down, and then Ahern stayed where she was and got the wide. Nelson on the board. But not for long. There's a little clear mid-wicket, but... Well, they're coming back for a second run. This is out if it's fielded cleanly, which it isn't. That, we've been talking about the running between the wickets being good, but that one was potentially a little suicidal. But as it turned out, I think the throw wasn't a bad one on the bounce, but not handled by Phillips, and Geach makes the ground.
Was she half tempted to let it go short? She thought it might hit direct, I wonder.
Oh, appeal for caught behind and gone. So Ahern goes for 38, and Phillips has her second wicket. It's a third dismissal for Watson, quite close to the wide line, trying to stretch out and reach it, but obviously just getting a little feather through. So a good innings from Meg Ahern. As Ian mentioned, not too many dots, looking to score a positive innings. She ran well, but goes with the ball to go in the 16th over.
Yeah, 3 fours. And yet again, maintaining her run of scores where they're kind of making a difference. And now, Izzy Patel coming out with basically 4 overs to try and keep this momentum up for Gloucestershire.
And this partnership between Geach and Patel reunited, but in a different situation against Derbyshire. They came together much earlier, admittedly with the run rate relatively high from a couple of starts in the top order, but now they've got to finish the innings, and Izzy Patel, who made 46 off 41 balls against Derbyshire, was the top scorer in that game, comes in with only a maximum of 25 balls to face in this one, so having to get going relatively quickly, and just the one ball in this Phillips over to face. And, well, potentially that's a ball to extra cover hit relatively gently that Meg Ahern was running for, but they turned down the single that time. So Phillips having the last laugh in that over after some twos, a sort of fake out for the wide. As we see the Gloucestershire wagon wheel, lots of boundaries through extra cover and straight mid-wicket. And not a huge amount hit straight down the ground or particularly fine. And that run rate is, it's not decelerating, but it's not yet accelerated, and only 4 overs left to do so.
Yeah, Thatcher is back. And immediately that's down the leg side. That will go for 4. Was there anything on that? We'll wait for Dean Daniels' signal. The answer is no. 4 wides. So a loose start to Thatcher's return. She bowled well at the outset, but that was a frustrating loosener for her. And no doubt for her captain as well. So bowling from the same end as she did earlier in the innings. That's floated up, but again that's going down to a vacant area at fine leg. There's a long chase for Herathke. Could she haul it in? No, the ball will just win. And there was bat on it that time, but a good start to an over from a Gloucestershire point of view. 8 from it already, and only 1 legal ball already bowled, and an over where that's got a sort of a 14 or a 16 at this stage can make a big difference. Thatcher bouncing in, got a springy run and a single this time to Emily Geach up to Brooker at mid-off. Now then for Patel, they've only had that 1 delivery. Are they going to change the field? Watson just asking if she wants to be changed from being at long on. The answer is no. So anywhere on the leg side, there's a single. Right weight of shot, you could probably get 2. Look at Patel. What's her attempt at this? Well, if Thatcher tries to bowl it across the right-hander, trying to force it to play into the offside, which she does, she will get a single though, and she's off the mark.
Yeah, I mean, at least in the early stages, admittedly, the early stages are pretty much the late stages with this number of balls to go, but with Geach more well set, the more she can turn the strike over, the better.
Thatcher again down the leg side, and a good take from keeper Alan Watson, but another wide. Brooker having a word with her bowler as she goes to the end of her mark. Geach works this into the leg side. They'll want 2 here, but there's probably only really 1, and for 1.5 perhaps, but no good losing another wicket at this point from a Gloucestershire perspective. If you aren't with us from the East Midlands, you can see from the, well, you not quite see from that picture, but blue skies overhead us here at Bristol. Thatcher again, maybe just not bowling that last one quite as quickly, and Patel forced just push it out onto the offside.
It can be such a useful delivery, that left arm off cutter. We saw Freya Kemp bowling almost nothing but those last night.
Bit straighter this time from Thatcher. Watson was just checking that Emily Geach hadn't wandered ahead of her ground at the non-strikers, and she did throw at the stumps, but it didn't hit. It didn't matter in the end. 126 for 4. 3 overs to go. Can Gloucestershire get 24 off the last 3?
Well, it was a great start to the over from the Gloucestershire point of view, with 9 runs effectively off the first ball, but the rest of it then only went for 4. So Thatcher showing her experience, I suppose, to pull that sort of over back when it could have been really quite a damaging one.
3 to go. Phillips to bowl this one. You presume Thatcher will bowl the last one at this end, and they've got to find one from somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I just think they've got plenty of options. I mean, Chisel could bowl her last if they wanted to go pace.
Catan bowled really well earlier in the innings.
Yeah, I mean, you could bring Herathke back for an over of leg spin if that's what you wanted. It could be match-up driven. Everybody likes match-ups. Oh, swing and a miss and a stumping. So the second stumping off the bowling of Ellie Phillips, who now has 3 foot, and that's a crucial wicket of Geach because she was starting to look dangerous and has struck herself at a high rate this season, and that is the end of Geach, who is Gloucestershire's leading run scorer in T20 this season as well. But out comes Caitlin Belcher, who, as I mentioned before, is coming back from injury. We haven't yet seen her bowl in the first team, but she was bowling earlier on. But what she did do, as the injury replacement, came in and scored 30 not out of 19 balls against a Tier 1 attack in Essex. So really announced herself coming back as a concussion replacement for Becca Halliday. So she is somebody that can give the ball a tonk at the back end of the innings, which is what Gloucestershire will need.
Yes, time not favouring her at the moment. Only 2.5 overs to go. And to come back to your point earlier, Ed, the table is quite tight. If Gloucestershire do want to be involved in those playoffs, they have to really win both today and at Northampton in their last game.
Slower ball first up. Belcher will get off the mark, sprinting that first run. This is definitely something that, I mean, of all head coaches to deliver the message of you run that first one hard no matter what, Fran Wilson is exactly the sort of person to deliver that message. Somebody really quite before her time in terms of what she did at backward point, running between the wickets, the innovation when she batted. As Patel will also find a single, and again it's almost a competition to see how quickly you can get to that other end, because even if it doesn't force the fumble, it just puts it in the fielder's mind that if I fumble next time, then they're looking for those extra runs. Slower ball down the leg side. That will be wided.
Extras are totting up here for Gloucestershire's credit and for Leicestershire's debit. We now have 22 extras in that total.
Yeah, I suppose 10 of those in two goes, as it were. So there was a short mid-wicket. Now we're going to move into short third for Caitlin Belcher. So pretty open leg side, but protection on the rope. And goes behind square where there will be a second run. No, they decide against it. And actually, with the throw coming off from Weston, would have been tight, I think, actually coming back for that second run. She delivered a really good off-balance throw. And that's so often, just get that throw away quickly.
That's the simple thing, isn't it? Ball's on its way.
So no boundaries yet in this over. Patel looking to ramp. Appeal for LBW, which umpire wasn't terribly interested in, and we can see why, because no leg by signalled. So Patel getting some sort of bat on that to save her, but they've tried quite a few of those little ramps and scoops and haven't really paid off to a great degree, except in terms of adjusting the field, but there was already a fine leg in place. Belcher waits for that. That's been thumped away through the covers. Fielder having to go into the slide, so good running, back for 2.
Yep.
So no boundary in the over, but they have scored off every ball apart from the wicket-taking delivery, but well, Gloucestershire, they're going to have to finish well and see if they can get above 150 and
then bowl well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a total where if they can get to that mark, even with a big couple of overs, it's probably going to be a total where Leicestershire will feel they are very much in the chase. But Gloucestershire know if they bowl well, equally, they've got a chance. Could be around about the par score.
Thatcher will bowl the last over from this Bristol Pavilion end. her last over, around the wicket to the right-handed Izzy Patel. They'll want two, and there was a slight fumble, and they'll come back, and will they make it? They will, just. You've got to gamble at this point. It's like me on any run I ever made.
You gambled?
I gambled.
As to whether you were going to hit the ball or not? Or?
Well, probably I will hit the ball, make the ground at the other end. Any number of gambles.
I'm sure you gambled when you ran.
Patel. That's a bit of a hoik down the ground to long on. Lucy Weston will come in and field and get one. It was always somewhat of a pleasure when I got to the other end and found the umpire's finger wasn't raised.
Which one?
Two fairly fresh batsmen here at the crease for Gloucestershire. Not really an ideal scenario in the last but one over. Thatcher around the wicket, and Belcher again doesn't time that. It goes to the same spot. Lucy Weston's been busy coming in off that long on boundary, but Gloucestershire haven't, as Ed said, been particularly successful in going down the ground and getting boundaries. The timing just hasn't been there. Thatcher to Patel off the pad this time. No evidence of bat, I don't think, on that.
They've changed their pace well, I think.
Well, there was a
Leicestershire.
thin nick on that, so that does go down as a single to Izzy Patel. .150 would still be. I said 140 earlier on. They're going to be ahead of that, but not by an awful lot. Oh, that's been skied up in the air by Belcher. Brooker's underneath.
Call for it.
Oh, well, there was no call, clearly. They will try for the run out. That hasn't happened either. And they've ended up Gloucestershire getting two off that, when really, with somebody calling for this catch, this is Brooker and Weston underneath it. Look how close they are.
Yeah,
Drops right between the two of them.
I was reason for my exclamation. I was really
throw.
quite concerned that they might collide to start with. It was almost just call for it in terms of don't crash rather than taking the catch. That looked nasty for a moment.
But both stopped. And as a result, Belcher got away with it. Seven balls to go. The 140 has been hit. Can they get to the 150? Belcher will try and play the same shot. That should go straight to Weston. Can she take it? She can. And that's what should have happened off the previous ball, really. But Caitlin Belcher is out. And it's a wicket for Thatcher right at the end of her stint with the ball. Didn't really get a hold of it as well as she would have liked. And Weston having a wicket earlier on off her first delivery, now has a catch as well. 140 for 6 with 1 over to go.
Yeah, I think it was time to try and go downtown from Caitlin Belcher's point of view. But as we've discussed plenty, they are long boundaries. It's a bit shorter at the far end, but take a mighty hit to clear this long on boundary. She can certainly do it, Caitlin Belcher. I've seen her hit some enormous sixes, but she perishes there. And Alice Bird has come a little bit up the order. She won't be on strike, but Alice Bird promoted ahead of the likes of Liv Daniels, presumably again with the thought of giving it a bit of a long handle. So it will be Chisel to bowl the last over, and that has not been signalled a wide. She did step across her stumps, did Izzy Patel, but obviously would still have hoped that the ball was deemed to be wide enough that it still wouldn't have hit her in an original stance, but the umpire giving the bowler a bit of leeway. Crashed away straight down the ground. Good sliding stop. Bird sacrificing herself really here. She's going to go. And I'm afraid that will be the dreaded diamond duck for Alice Bird. But an unselfish move to get the established batter and Izzy Patel back on strike. It was firmly struck, good slide, picked it up cleanly, got the throw in, one bounce near the stumps, and if any part of that piece of fielding hadn't been as good as it was, then Alice Bird would have made it anyway.
Yeah, it had to be a decent stop, otherwise it would have been 4. And that was my running all over, going to the non-strikers end there and finding that you're, unless there's a complete fumble in the field, you're wandering back to the pavilion.
So Phillips, the executioner, executor, off the edge, and that's a really good catch. So another wicket falls, and the catch taken by Herathke at short third, looping up, diving forward, just plucking it off the blade tips of the grass. And Izzy Patel again going in the pursuit of big shots, and it does seem, whether it is the success of Leicestershire in changing their pace, or whether actually as the innings has gone on, with the ball maybe getting a little bit softer, whether it's got a bit harder to time, we'll only know when Gloucestershire bowl. But they have struggled as soon as they've really started to try and play the big shots. I mean, the one batter who's had the most success out there in terms of timing the ball was Reddy, hitting 5 boundaries, all in the power play and all timing, really. Swung away by Alice Hill. She certainly got that one a bit better, but picked out deep mid-wicket on the bounce.
So Alice Hill and Liv Daniels, as you can see on your screen, are the 2 batters in for Gloucestershire at the moment.
Liv Daniels, who I've had a text message from Adrian Williams, who is in charge of the Cotswold and North Wilts section of the Gloucestershire supporters group, as that is a wide down the lakeside, pointing out that they are sponsoring 3 players this season, in Izzy Patel, who's just departed, Liv Daniels, who, well, technically hasn't just faced her first ball because of the wide, and Charlie Phillips as well. So another group that does an awful lot of good work. Driven past the bowler, and they will get through. So I think the Liv Daniels fan club must be in today. Not sure whether that's, well, we should have a lot of connections in the area. I'm not sure whether that's school or further education connections or friends and family.
Yeah,
but
there's a group of
there's a
about
lot of them down there.
Downstairs.
We had the Alice Hill fan club actually last year for one of the games I covered. Spooned away towards mid-off. And, well, that was a sort of a throw where the fielder was making sure there wouldn't be any overthrows. So the single taken, but that's it. And Leicestershire have finished that innings well. They've pegged Gloucestershire back after a pretty decent, well, particularly first 5 overs. Gloucestershire were looking as though they were racing away. Some partnerships built, never really got entirely out of hand for Leicestershire, but Gloucestershire, thanks to the contributions particularly of Ahern, Monday, Reddy and Geach, those were the batters who made double figures. They've got themselves to 145 for 8, so Leicestershire 146 to win, and Gloucestershire, as we've been saying, they need to defend this if they are to keep their hopes of a spot at finals day alive.
Worth also saying, those are the batters in double figures, but there were 23 extras, so joint second top score, and all but 2 of those were from either balls that went for 4 wides or individual wides. So 23 extras, a big proportion of that 145. The bowling figures for Leicestershire: Thatcher 4 overs 1 for 32, Phillips 4 overs 3 for 33, including 2 wickets late on. Chisel 4 overs 1 for 30, Catan, who bowled very well, 4 overs 1 maiden 1 for 21, Herathke 2 overs for 11, and Weston 2 overs 1 for 16. We'll take a short break. You can go and put the kettle on, make a tea, and join us for the chase here at a very sunny Bristol, where Leicestershire will need 146 to win at a touch under 7.5 and over. It's evenly balanced here at halfway. Welcome back to the Seat Unique Stadium here in Bristol. Glorious day for this standalone match in the Women's Division 2 of the T20, where Gloucestershire, having decided to bat after winning the toss, made 145 for 8. Mega Hearn made 38 as top score. 20s from Amelie Munday and Prathana Reddy. And now Leicestershire with a chase at just under 7.5, 7.25, as you can see there. About to set off in pursuit with Ellen Watson and Ellie Phillips, by the looks of it, opening the batting. So the team sheet that we weren't sure was the batting order, perhaps it is going to turn out like this, which was Watson, Phillips, Chisel, Brooker, and then Davis, Grayson and Tika Singh down at 7, which was a surprise to me, but maybe that's the way they are going to go about it.
Well, she should have plenty of confidence from the way that she's bowled and fielded. Phillips, having taken three wickets and executed that run out sliding on the boundary to run out Alice Bird, and it is going to be, which is a really great sight, Caitlin Belcher to bowl the first over. So she will come tearing in from the Ashley Down Road end, and Mega Hearn, unsurprisingly, not standing up to the stumps for Caitlin Belcher because she has some wheels.
And a slip in, which we didn't see in the
Leicestershire
innings when they fielded. Down the leg side from Belcher. So Gloucestershire with Becca Halliday at slip. The fielders out at the moment are fairly orthodox in terms there are that, well, deep backward score, a very wide long leg, Izzy Patel, and also a third man as well. So Belcher, I hadn't seen bowl live until the warm-up earlier today. Comes in with that long ponytail from the far end. That's a better line outside the off stump and taken by Liv Daniels. Is a very active captain. She always wants to be involved in the game when she's fielding.
Yeah, very often found it short
Extra.
short mid-wicket, but particularly short extra cover. Feels she could be close to the action there, and is a fine fielder in close as well.
Watson waits for Belcher. Hit firmly up to mid-off. Good stop. And Emily Geach tries to throw down the stumps at the non-striker's end. Doesn't hit. And Leicestershire on their way with the first run.
Now, that first ball was not signalled
No.
wide, was it? It just brushed a bit of pad, maybe?
And by Chandaria, perhaps allowing one loosener. Phillips waits for Belcher. And again, that's very full. And just defended really out to mid-off. Each again does the fielding.
We're certainly seeing some pace today. We saw it with Chisel in the Leicestershire innings, both Belcher and Bird. Not slow.
The Bird would have tended to bowl from that end, so we've seen whether she actually bowls from this Bristol Pavilion end today. Belcher, and that's outside the off stump, and again Phillips can't lay bat on it.
She must be an awkward face as well, Belcher. Not just the fact that she's got some pace about her, but it's a slightly different action. Gets very close to the stumps as well. Really fires it down in a whirl of arms.
Wouldn't be the first bowler to be described as having a whirl of arms. Again, outside the off stump, taken in front of the first slip by Mega Hearn. So just one off the over from Caitlin Belcher. A good start for her. And how will Liv Daniels use her bowlers here? Often they've tended to use Charlie Phillips at the start, and that again may be the situation here. Didn't bat today, but will bowl her off spin from this Bristol Pavilion end. Again, tends to be the end she prefers.
Yep. So
slightly longer boundary, obviously straight.
It is going to be off spin with the new ball. As Ian says, certainly very experienced operator in terms of bowling in the power play. Doesn't phase her. Reverse sweep first up. Looked very close if that was pad, but get a look at the signal. Well, it is going to be signalled a leg by umpire Daniels. Maybe just continuing to... Oh, no, not continue to slide on. Maybe just outside the line of off was the reason. Good shout, but turned down.
Phillips with an enthusiastic appeal.
Wasted absolutely no time, Watson, in bringing out that reverse sweep. And now it's Phillips to Phillips for the first time. Nicely bowled, targeting the stumps. Something that's so often the key in
simple, isn't it?
Women's
really?
Game, yeah. Particularly if you're going to bowl spin in the power play, you can't be offering up too much width either side. Off stump, middle stump. Already Phillips trying to change the angle and perishes. Just took a little step across, maybe hoping that Charlie Phillips might bowl a ball into her pad. So you can see leg stump behind her as she plays that. But what Phillips does is she follows her just a little bit. And potentially if Ellie Phillips had decided that that was going to be a leg side ball, wasn't quite in position to try and clear the offside in that way. And the catch taken by Emily Geach at mid-off. A fairly comfortable pouch, really. And Gloucestershire have one of the early wickets that they would have been after, 2 for 1.
Yeah, Gloucestershire lost 2 wickets themselves in the power play. 1 in the second over and 1 in the last, but I just wonder if that last ball actually bounced a little bit more than Ellie Phillips thought. And that's why she got it off the top half of the bat. And it wasn't travelling, it didn't seem to be travelling from our commentary position. We're not obviously down at pitch level, but it didn't seem to be travelling all that quickly towards Emily Geet, so she had time to set herself. So Caitlin Chisel is in at number 3.
This was, albeit in the middle order rather than the top order, this was the partnership that did the damage when these two teams met in 50 over cricket up at Grace Road. Clipped into the leg side and underway straight away. This time it's early, not looking to push back for a second run, so good work off the boundary from Reddy, who as so often is one of the Gloucestershire boundary riders. Swept away and Halliday gets down. Would have been at least a couple if it had made it by, so a couple of smart pieces of fielding from Gloucestershire, who will need to take their chances, will need to dive around in the field to defend this score. Coming down the pitch, but nicely bowled by Phillips. He will get through for a single, but that's it. The attacking intentions were there from Chisel, but she can't quite lever that one away. So 5 for 1 after 2 overs, and a good start from, well, better than good, an excellent start from Charlie Phillips as well.
Megan has just swapped out her head guard for a cap. She's going to keep once again to Caitlin Belcher. I think from Fran Wilson's point of view, she'll say, right, our success in that innings when we batted was not from the boundaries, but from trying to push the singles and make them into twos. And if we can squeeze Leicestershire and only give them singles, that will just perhaps force them to play 1 or 2 bigger shots, more risky shots. That's a good delivery from Belcher. She doesn't know how that hasn't got a nick.
That's a wonderful ball, isn't it? Just does enough. And Chisel on the front foot, but the ball beating her for pace and movement.
Belcher from the Ashley Down Road end. Oh, swing there, beautifully bowled. Beautifully bowled. Chisel has to go. Played all round it, but from the in-swinger to the one that went in the air, almost at Yorker length. And that is a really, really good delivery.
I think that's what's known as a seed. Yeah, fantastic.
Didn't get up very much, but there was virtually no distance at all between where the ball pitched and the stumps. It was Yorker length, and it swung quite late. And great sight for Caitlin.
I mean, you can see from the reverse angle, can't you, in terms of just how much it's done. The batter really very much within her rights to think that she's going to be able to play it through the leg side. It can't possibly swing that much. Oh, and then it does. Just banana swing at pace as well. And that, you can see the delight on Belcher's face. She's had to go through a lot in terms of getting to a position where she can deliver balls like that. And that is what she is capable of at her best.
So the Leicestershire captain, Becky Brooker, in at number 4. And she's bowled as well. Belcher on a hat-trick. And she's cleaned up on 2 of the top order for Leicestershire here. And 5 for 3 they are. Almost the same ball, just didn't really swing. Same length though. And Brooker unable to get the bat down on it. And on this return, 21-year-old Caitlin Belcher on a hat trick. We're expecting Flora Davis to come out at number 5, which she is. And wickets lost in the power play, Ed.
Well,
That's often the what changes matters. Now, how deep is this Leicestershire batting order?
I think relatively deep,
Here.
but it's going to be tested chasing the score now. And 146 from 5 for 3 halfway through the third over looks an awful lot different. You come out with the run rate immediately at 8, but the first task for Davies is to prevent the hat-trick. A hat-trick of bowls as well would be quite something.
So Belcher with a small change in the field only. Liv Daniels is coming in a touch closer. So the hat-trick ball for Caitlin Belcher, it is a bit shorter and it's nudged into the leg side by Flora Davis, who will pick up a single. There'll still be a generous round of applause. There always is when there's 2 wickets in 2 balls, and even if the third one doesn't fall. And there'll be another big cheer at the end of this over.
Oh, she'd have been absolutely raring to go, I'm sure, for this bowling innings, but there would have been a danger of potentially even trying a bit too hard, but she hasn't done that. Just looks so smooth, the action. She's getting her lines right so far, and gosh, isn't she getting the rewards?
Watson to face Belcher, who can just a little scoop into the leg side at short, fine leg. Only kick, keep it down. Steered away by Davis down to short third man, or there's a bit of a chase actually, and they'll come round for 2. But the end of a really successful over for Caitlin Belcher. 2 wickets in it, and 2 big wickets as well. Those of Chisel and Brooker. And the question for Liv Daniels, I suppose, is that does she keep her on at this point with clearly good rhythm, good confidence? 7 for 3, 9 for 3, 7 for 3 after 3 overs.
Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it? And it's probably an easier answer because Liv Daniels knows that she's got plenty of other options. Phillips to continue. Reverse has gone absolutely nowhere.
Or could easily have dragged that on.
Yeah, it's funny watching Watson, who I'm already seeing reverses and paddles her game. She goes for power that time, and too powerful. Gets underneath mid-off and goes to the boundary. That's a nice shot for 4, getting to the pitch of it. And a strong shot. Never really left the ground either. Just created the space for herself to get that swing of the arms away. And nothing that Geach could do about that at mid-off. Now back to the dinky-dunky game, and that will just be a single. Brave to take on the arm of Belcher at short, fine leg, like most fast bowlers.
Is that in the Wisden coaching manual? The
dinky-dunky game? I'm not sure. But it's interesting that I don't think there's a Scottish player.
I think we both know the answer to that.
I don't think there's a Scottish player at the moment that doesn't play those sorts of shots. Width on offer, and a good hand at backward point. She had the square to deal with, she had the spin to watch, but Alice Bird has saved probably 3 runs there. Just offering up some width for the first time, Charlie Phillips, but the field saving her. Again, chopped into the ground, to the edge of the circle. They are doing what Gloucestershire did, and taking on fielders in terms of extra runs. I suppose in this position, Leicestershire feeling that they've got to put some pressure back on Gloucestershire after losing these 3 early wickets. And that's hit in the air, but will fall short of long on. 1 bounce to Amelie Monday there. So they are certainly playing with some freedom here, Leicestershire, which should make for an exciting game, because it really looks as if they're just going to, which in a way they ought to, just continue going for it, because Leicestershire, well, I think there may be a mathematical way involving bonus points where Leicestershire could make it, but it would probably involve bonus points and possibly a washout between Northamptonshire and Gloucestershire, and then they might still need some extra fortune. So they are kind of operating on a bit of a shot to nothing basis in this game, and that could make them dangerous even though they're losing wickets.
Now, Caitlin Belcher looks as though she's going to continue here, but there's going to be a bit of field adjustment first. And Becca Halliday has come into it's a short sort of wide. They're going to move her around. I was going to say it was a short extra cover at a short mid wicket at one stage, but it was so straight. It always had two mid-ons, but by moving Charlie Phillips now around to short fine leg, we've now got a more orthodox field on the leg side. Belcher to continue to Davis. Oh, that's in the air. Can Megahan get to it? She can't. And another false shot, and Belcher creating opportunities as well as taking wickets here. That was not a shot played with any great control. And Ahern standing quite well back, actually, unable to get to that loose shot. And Liv Daniels just having a chat again with Belcher here. I think there's every right that you might even see that rarity potentially of a bowler bowling all their overs at the start.
Well, you never know. We saw Marizanne Kaptur last night
here with Belcher having taken 2 wickets and clearly causing trouble for the batters. That's in through the gap on the offside. That's well placed by Watson. It will go all the way for 4. Good stop. Very, very good stop. Prathana Reddy with the chase. And in the end, they have got 3, but she saved a run with a dive and a little scoot back.
Yeah, she is one of, if not the quickest in terms of foot speed, I think. Prathana Reddy, and she had to be, because only just pulling the ball back in. We haven't seen much of that in the Gloucestershire innings. When they beat the infield, the ball pretty much ran away.
Davis waits for Belcher. Oh, very nearly played on off an inside edge. She's got away with that. She's got a streaky single. It will say 1 on the scorebook, but very close. Bottom inside edge. And Charlie Phillips at least kept them down to 1, but it's that very full ball that is Belcher's real danger at the moment. 2 wickets from it and very nearly a 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, again, when it's swinging, you have to accept the odd time being driven, which she was by Watson for the 3, but equally, you're going to get the maximum amount of swing.
This is the 5th over, so 1 more after this in the power play. Appeal for an LBW, which was confident from the bowler, but nobody else went up. Umpire Chandaria says there was no bat involved. So what was the line of this? Going down the leg side quite clearly.
Yeah, I suppose she'd have hoped, because she's bowling away swingers, although of course it would almost have been the in-swinger, pitched on leg, hitting leg, but probably not quite straightening enough.
As Ed mentioned earlier, these are 2 of Leicestershire's best batters. They would have really hoped to be in a better position than this. A bit of a repair job to do. And there's 2 more here to Davis. A good chase out in the deep on the leg side from Amelie Mundy in front of that partially constructed temporary stand that's being built for the England-India match, which is next Thursday 13,500 or so will be here for that. All tickets gone months ago, unsurprisingly. And they'll be hoping for a day like this weather-wise. Belcher in again to Davis. Slower ball down the leg side and given as a wide. Only the second wide Gloucestershire have bowled so far. I mean, that to me is a discipline which you should be able to improve substantially quite quickly. The concept of restricting the number of wides you give away. I think, you know, Fran Wilson will have felt that at points during the season there have been too many, and can you say improve that area? Which a big impact on the scoreboard. Oh, a poor throw. And Ahern had gone towards the stumps. Not sure what Alice Bird had thought there. Was she going for the direct throw? Was she going to the keeper? In any sense, it was not overly damaging. There was only one run, 27 for 3 off 5. At this point, just give you an idea, at the end of the power play, Gloucestershire were 41 for 2. So there's a small advantage, it would appear, for the home side at the moment. So Belcher's now bowled all the 3 overs from the Ashley Down Road end. Charlie Phillips had 2 at this Bristol Pavilion end, and Belcher's taken 2 for 14, and Daniels will bowl the last over of the power play.
I wonder if there was a call to throw it in at the bowler's end, that last ball, because Watson had come quite a long way down. So Daniels to bowl and swept away past square leg for 4 runs. This partnership is starting to cause 1 or 2 concerns here for Gloucestershire from the position that they came out 5 for 3 halfway through the 3rd over. And since then, these two have taken the attack to Gloucestershire and have found boundaries. Chipped in the air and caught by Belcher, who fell over and takes the catch from a position sedentary on the ground.
But you can't keep her out of the game at the moment.
I think that is what they say, don't they? It's the cliche klaxon goes on. No, it almost felt as if it had to be her when you looked at where the ball was going.
Look at Davis's reaction.
Well,
what have I done there?
Yeah, it's a horrible way to go, isn't it? When you're playing with the turn, but you just mistime the roll of the wrists, and all you can do is just see the ball lobbing towards the fielder, who, so I don't know if she slipped or whether she thought that it was hit along the ground and got down very quickly, but ended up sitting down and taking the catch. I'm not sure that's something that even in the rigorous practice sessions, where I know they've had sliding practice a fair few times, I don't think they've had taking catches sitting on the floor practice, but that is what happened. And 4 wickets down, Leicestershire inside the power play. And out to the middle comes Sophie Grayson.
It is worth saying, though, that Faith Tika Singh, who we would imagine would bat at 7, has opened in 4 matches in T20 for Leicestershire this season.
Yeah, as I say, they bat deep, this team. It's not terminal losing early wickets, but at the same time, if Gloucestershire can keep taking them, it'll be a real problem. Oh, she really threw that one up there. First ball in terms of length, but also in terms of loop. That one was a real tempter, almost knowing Daniels that Leicestershire have come out and been aggressive. Said, okay, you want to take me on first ball? And just sliding that one on is the beauty of this round the wicket off spin angle,
which a lot of the Gloucestershire off spinners do.
It's certainly become quite fashionable, I think. especially in the power play. Oh, coming across her stumps, and that will be wided. So again, the judgment from the umpire has to be what it would have done if the batter had stayed put. So an extra ball. Well, they want to run their push towards backward point. Again, they are finding these singles inside the circle here, Leicestershire. But only one ball left in the power play, and then from Daniel's point of view, her life as captain becomes marginally easier in terms of being able to relax the field. Reverse sweep, or she's connected well with that one. That's going to be a long chase, and I don't think the fielders are going to get there. The outfield quick enough, and Watson continuing to back those sorts of shots and finishes the power play with a boundary. So in terms of runs, not a great deal between the two sides, just 4 runs in it, with Gloucestershire 41 for 2 after their power play, but a reverse sweep puts Leicestershire relatively close. But it's the extra 2 wickets that Gloucestershire have taken that they will hope in these middle overs will prove damaging for Leicestershire.
So the position is that Caitlin Belcher is not going to bowl out of her spell. 3 overs, 2 for 14 she's got at the moment, and the first over outside the power play will go to Alice Bird. Leicestershire's card at the moment: Ellie Phillips caught by Geachoff, Charlie Phillips without scoring, Chisel bowled Belcher 2, Brooker bowled Belcher first ball without scoring, and then Davis caught by Belcher off Daniels for 14. Watson has 17 off 13 balls. Not an awful lot of the strike in relative terms.
It's sort of what happened to Monday, isn't it? She probably faced about 13 balls in the power play.
And still, as I say, Tika seemed to come. But here's Alice Bird. And she's squeezed into the leg side by Grayson for a single. Bird, with the new ball earlier in the season, has also shown that there is swing for her as well. Now, can she do it with a slightly older ball? Would be well,
I think the answer from that first ball was yes.
Yeah, is there still swing for her there? And Watson waits, and that's almost, she's almost yorked, but she's going to get one to Halliday, who doesn't attempt to throw down the stumps at the non-striker's end.
Bird, the in-swing option, whereas Belcher gets that away swing, so something different for Leicestershire to deal with. But yeah, there is clearly still swing there in the 7th over. Whilst it is sunny, it's quite humid and just the right temperature seemingly for swing.
Grayson waits, and she'll just play that up towards long on, where Monday's fielding, but the ball was never going to reach her because Emily Geach is at mid-off, and she just trotted across to field as one more. So single of each of the first 3 balls of this Alice Bird over. Well, that's widely down the leg side, and it will be signalled as a wide. Probably more than anything, I think Watson would have actually missed out there, because that was bowled at no great pace and almost put that where she wanted to, but she'll have another opportunity. The rate just below what Leicestershire needed from the outset at the moment. Bird, that's a straighter ball, better ball, and Watson has to defend.
I was going to be really interested to see how Leicestershire approached outside the power play now. Would they continue to be as aggressive as they were in the power play, or think, okay, wickets not quite where we want it to be, but actually we still need less than 8 and over. You can tick along at 6s and 7s for a bit here.
Bird, well, that's off the boot of
Did she play a shot at that?
No, is he happy? I'm just having a conversation, actually. about whether they felt she didn't play a shot and they're going to say no. It was a deliberate movement almost from her towards the ball with her left foot, with her front foot.
Let's have a look, because yeah, I mean, that's very close, isn't it? She gets halfway through playing a shot and then almost kicks it.
Or doesn't go through with the attempt. Slower ball from Bird, and lots of cries for. Well, there would have been a second run there, but Charlie Phillips' throw, as you can see, hits the stumps. So end of Alice Bird's first over. Not terrible from a Gloucestershire point of view, only 5 off it. And 42 for 4 after 7. Gloucestershire got to the 17th over before they were 4 wickets down, just out of a comparison. But Liv Daniels has got some juggling to do with her bowlers, because Belcher has bowled 3 of her 4 at the outset. Certainly effective with 2 wickets. But how does she juggle the rest? She's going to continue for the moment herself. Remember, the target for Leicestershire is 146 to win, so 104 still needed.
She'll still bowl round the wicket, even outside the power play. Almost leaving that mid-wicket open to tempt exactly that shot, and that's exactly what she got. Watson happy to play against the angle.
Also, Liv's clearly trusting Prathana Reddy's speed over the ground and accuracy of throw.
Yeah.
To say, right, they're not going to take 2 to you.
Yes, and also now that Grayson is on strike, the mid-wicket comes into play. So happy to try and have Watson at the non-striker's end. It's nicely struck towards mid-off. Bit of a fumble. Will they get 2? No. Geach recovers. So in terms of options, we haven't seen Alice Hill yet, who would be another off-spin option, but a slightly different off-spin, a little bit taller. And both Phillips and Daniels. Then Geach and Patel could come on and mix it up a bit with changes of pace. Struck just over the bowler. The non-striker, beg your pardon. And again, Emily Geach being kept very busy at mid-off. Just a couple off this over so far, so a little bit of pressure potentially building. Oh, it brought out the big shot, bottom edge, and they'll get through again for a single. They are getting a lot of singles here, Leicestershire, inside the fielding circle, but again, they're just taking the attitude that Gloucestershire did of heads down and run. But Watson clearly looking to take the attack to Liv Daniels, who is a combative cricketer and won't mind that too much. And again, right up in the block hole from Liv Daniels, who does tend to try and keep it as simple as she can, keep the stumps in play, bring in as many modes of dismissal as possible. Oh, going back into a crease there, but with the angle probably pitching outside the line of leg stump, but just 3 off the over. And with every over like that, that required rate just starts to climb. It's near 8.5 now, 45 for 4.
I know Laurie was in the box earlier on, one of the grounds team. Did we establish whether this was a World Cup wicket or not? Did he say no?
Apparently not in the end. No. I think there's. Well, let's see. We can see. I'm trying to get my bearings. That's from the far end, isn't it? So the one of the ones that's being. There's the one that's being covered by the mat, which I assume is the pitch for the men's T20 international, and then I think it's the one closer to this pitch, and then the one that's just out of shot at the moment of the 2 that we used for the World Cup.
So spin for the first time now from the Ashley Down road end, and it's immediate success for Gloucestershire, Alice Hill from her first delivery has stumping from Mega Hearn and an important wicket with Ellen Watson going. A third stumping of the day, and she just played all round it. And Mega Hearn with a fairly simple job, and that feels a big wicket. 5 down. Yes, Tika Singh's still to come in, but how much can Leicestershire attack now from here when you've got relatively little frontline batting left?
And the other factor here, and I haven't got my calculator out, is you start to think at 45 for 5, can Gloucestershire get that bonus point? The extra point for basically, well, let's say it's not basic, is it? There's nothing basic about this bonus point. A run rate greater than 1.25 times greater than the opposition is not particularly basic, but that's the rule, and you get a bonus point if you can do that. And it would, if Gloucestershire could get that, it would mean that they would go ahead of both Worcestershire and Kent in the table and open up more possibilities.
So here is Faith Tika Singh, who has been opening to come in at number 7, 45 for 5 in the 9th. And Hill pulls a beautifully directed and length delivery first up. Just the sort of testing you want to give to a new batter. Still bowling round the wicket to the right-hander. Tika Singh just defends.
Should say, by the way, it's pretty good news from a Gloucestershire point of view from the game between Glamorgan and Middlesex. Glamorgan looked to be heading towards a fairly thumping win.
Tika Singh back into a crease. So if my maths is right, Leicestershire have got to get fewer than 116.
That sounds about the right number.
Gloucester got to bowl them out fewer than that. Clipped into the leg side, but straight to fielder at mid-wicket, Alice Bird. Hill of about 4 paces. This time Tika Singh back into her crease, but that's a really sharp first over from Alice Hill. Just 1 run off it and the wicket. And now there does look to be a distinct advantage for Gloucestershire at the moment on the board. They're ahead of where Leicestershire were in terms of their runs at the same point. Leicestershire are, should we say. And they've also got, they've taken 3 more wickets.
So, without, I'm not going to get too bogged down because it's probably a matter of seeing where things are both at the end of this game and at the end of the day. But there is a chance, especially if Gloucestershire could grab that bonus point, there is a chance they could be sitting in 2nd place at the end of the day, with Middlesex looking as though they are not going to take any points, and still a couple of games in progress, including that one. But Emily Geach is on to bowl. It's a tidy start, just a drop and run from Tika Singh, just looking to get her innings going. Northamptonshire posted 132 for 8 in their match against Sussex. Sussex 24 for 1 in the 5th over, and of course Northamptonshire, Gloucestershire's next opponents. So they would still, I think, have to win that one, but in terms of the other teams, it might open up more possibilities. They want to win this by as much as possible, slicing towards short third. They want 2, and they will get it. Good running from Grayson back to the striker's end. Now, with Alice Hill bowling, I was doing a little bit of digging, and 10 years ago on this day, and I love doing this with the women's game, because it does show you so often the immense amount of progress that's made in the context of the passage of time, a very short space of time. So 10 years ago today, Gloucestershire played a double header against Dorset and Wiltshire. Would be a run there. And the two matches that were played at Dean Close School in Cheltenham. So not even at the school at Cheltenham where Gloucestershire will play, of course. They're two matches in the Cheltenham Festival. Two women's matches part of that festival. Drop and run straight to cover, and they'll get there. Again, they're just putting their heads down and going for it. That double header was in Division 4 of the Women's 2020 Cup. Fast forward 10 years, Gloucestershire's women are playing at the main ground in Bristol and vying for a spot in Tier 2 Finals Day, although that's a misfield short third and will allow a couple of runs where it looked as though none were going to be available. And as I've been saying, really, every run could matter, potentially for net run rate, potentially for the bonus point. But how good is that? The fact that
playing up 2 levels.
Now, yeah. And as the first half of the innings will finish with a single, so 53 for 5. The reason I mention that especially is the game against Wiltshire. Alice Hill batted at 3 for Gloucestershire and bowled 4 overs for only 7 runs. Playing for Wiltshire and opening the bowling, a certain 15-year-old Melissa Story. 2 for 22. And also, in another look where they are now moment, opening the batting for Gloucestershire, Danny Gibson. A decade later, she's in a T20 World Cup final.
Yeah, that is Dumbleton's Danny Gibson?
Yep.
If I'm correct.
And she was also 15 years of age.
Yeah. Hill to continue, or continuing from the Ashley Down Road end. You can see where Tika Singh is part of the Blaze Academy up in the East Midlands, and that's at under 17 level, so she is a real youngster in this team. But you can see she plays quite correctly, and 1 run there to Charlie Phillips. In at short final. We're now obviously well beyond the power play, so Liv Daniels can shuffle things in the field if she wishes to. 3 saving a single on the offside for Alice Hill's off breaks. I mean, she made her Gloucestershire debut back in 2014, so she's been around a long time as well. Tossed right up, swept powerfully, but stopped by the sweeper, and a good bit of work out there from Izzy Patel. Only 3 boundaries to Leicestershire so far in this innings. They're going to have to work hard with their running between the wickets, you feel, if they're going to get back into this. And almost York's good delivery once again from Hill around the wicket. So this is good control from her. Only 2 singles in the over. Dickerson clips that into space on the bounce. It's a kind bounce too. And Geach's throw will keep them down once again to 1. And Gloucestershire quite happy with this. I mean, 3 singles and over will just push the rate up and up. There you can see on the board 90 to win. And only 9 overs left.
Yeah, it's starting to feel as though the squeeze is on here. And I think what we can say even now, Gloucestershire's decision to bat first at the toss has looked to be the right one, because it has not got easier, I don't think, in terms of batting on the surface. I still don't think it's a bad surface at all, but it does seem as though the best time to bat was potentially right at the start. And as soon as bowlers have really taken some pace off it, and you know, Bristol's still Bristol, slower balls and pace off is still good options here, and they probably will be for a long time to come. But in both innings we've seen it, haven't we? And I think the difference, of course, between the two sides at the moment was the fact that Belcher was able to blast through some of that Leicestershire top order, whereas even though Gloucestershire didn't get off to an absolute flyer, they were going quite well until the pair of leggies in Ketan and Herathke managed to peg Gloucestershire back.
There's some running repairs here for Sophie Grayson, I think. They've got a blow on the hand because Amy Cahoon came out with one of the other Leicestershire staff just out of shot and appeared to be, if not having any strapping put on a finger, maybe some spray.
So Geach to continue. Nicely guided away. It beats the dive of Halliday. Don't think it's got enough on it to go to the boundary. Will they be able to go for 3? Well, possibly they would have been, but they decide not to go for it. Gloucestershire were taking those extra runs on the arm. We did see at least 1 3 in Gloucestershire's innings, but that time just the 2. Each maintaining a straight line. Doing so again there. Halliday will cut this one off. Probably would only have been a single anyway. But it's well, it's a boundary and over now for Leicestershire,
and they've been very short of those.
Yeah, and they can't face really any dots. So that's what's needed from here, from the Foxes' point of view. Again, good drop and run, just wide enough of Daniels at short extra cover. As lively as she is in that position, can't prevent the single, but singles are little wins for Gloucestershire now. Again, they'll be conscious of, I mean, I'm sure they will know the number for the BP. Just run off the outer part of the bat. Testing Phillips down towards the boundary. Again, she'll get there to keep it in. So back for 2. Again, a nice piece of batting from Tika Singh just to manufacture a couple of runs without taking a risk. So 6 off 4 balls this over. It's not a bad one from a Leicestershire point of view.
I mean, you can see. I mean, she's not a 7. Doesn't look a 7 in terms of her technique.
Whipped into the leg side down towards long on. Monday there to complete the fielding.
I should just, at this point, I'll do it at the end of the over.
Well, now you've set it up. Now I'm desperate to know what it is.
Well, do it at the end of the over.
Can't wait. It's better be good. Just a low full toss, but not always the easiest ball to get away. And runs off every ball in that over. 8 from it, but they won't mind that for now. Just
it's got to be a big
stop the bleeding. But yes,
somewhere.
they will need a big over, and also they will have to figure out Alice Hill, who's gone for 4 runs in 2 overs.
What I was going to say was that this match, of course, was going to be part of a double header with the match against Surrey, the men's game. That will now be tomorrow, and Ed will lead the BBC commentary on that. Because the game is being televised, there is no stream tomorrow. So if you want to follow the game, the best way, if you don't have the the television package appropriate, is to follow Ed on commentary tomorrow with Mark Church. Tossed right up by Alice Bird, and that will be driven for 4. That was really given a lot of air, and Grayson got it down the ground past Becca Halliday and away for only Leicester's 4th boundary in this innings. Halliday attempting to go towards it with the slide, but it was travelling too fast through the air. Before she got a little bit straighter actually after that shot. Grayson on to 14. But Leicestershire are up against it here, as much because of the wickets column as anything else. They are behind the clock, but they also have a little bit of protection of the tail to do as well. There's a call for a sharp single. Can Gloucestershire affect the run out here? They're asking, but Tika Singh has got home.
I think Meg Ahern just about removed the bails there.
Underarm throw.
Well, she did well not to throw it into the batter. That was going to be one of the key things in terms of actually getting the ball through to the keeper, but just home.
Boundary off the first ball of the over has given Leicestershire a bit of a leg up here, and they might get another one. It's a sweep round, a chase, and a great stop. Good work from Izzy Patel. A ground to make down in front of the club office as it, that deep backward square, but made the stop first to ensure that the boundary wasn't given away, and then got a throw in as quickly as she could.
Yeah, have been very good on the boundary in this innings, Gloucestershire.
Hill again, a lot of flight, and it's forced past Caitlin Belcher by Faith Tika Singh. They want 2, and they're going to get it. Even Reddy couldn't prevent them taking 2 with ground to be made there, and this is because of that boundary at the start of the over. This has turned into a much better over for Leicestershire.
Yeah, they are starting to build, these two.
Hill, flatter ball, and defended by Tika Singh at the end of Hill's 3rd over, but she's still pretty economical. 73 for 5, 7 to go, and the rate is still above 10.
Yep, 8, 9 last couple of overs though, so they haven't completely got ahead of things, but this pair's starting to just stop the building of that required rate, and well, it is as well. It's time for the Barmy Army trumpeter to get going. 73 scored and 73 to go. Living on a prayer. And Charlie Phillips is back into the attack, hoping that Gloucestershire are living on rather more than just a prayer from this position. 73 required off 7 overs, 5 wickets to take. Just helped away towards deep square. There will be pressure on each piece of fielding. That one, a relatively straightforward one for Belcher off the boundary, as they didn't show any signs of wanting to take 2.
They'd have to go at about no more than 5 and over for Gloucestershire to have any chance of the bonus point.
They need wickets if that's to be their aim, but the primary one, of course, as always,
is to win
the game first. Yeah, cut and a miss. So a dot ball. And Charlie Phillips, having bowled 2 overs up front, somebody that can be used at the back end of an innings as well. Brought on for a cheap over by a skipper, and again there's width, and this time the little late cut is played well. Halliday to the ball and keeps it to 2, which was the best result given that ball was played into a lot of space. But she's showing good touch here, is Tika Singh. They've still not got a fielder at short third, and she's already found a couple of 2s down in that area. Straighter line. Geach inside the fielding circle, keeping it to 1, so 4 off for this over, and this is where there is that bit of pressure now in terms of needing to find their boundary for this over. For Leicestershire, Grayson assessing her options. And again, finding space behind square on the leg side. Another long chase for Halliday, which she will get to. And this time they're going to take the third on the arm. Learnt from that previous time where they didn't take it. And so again, they're just hanging in there here, Leicestershire.
Just a bit further for Becca Halliday to run there. Just a bit wider angle on the shot. And therefore the throw had to go a little bit further. And that's why I think Tika Singh said, right, I'm going to the danger end. I back myself. And came back for the third run. And that has forced a field change.
So there were two options, weren't there? Either you changed to over the wicket or the field had to be changed. And that is the finish to the over that Gloucestershire wanted. 7 off it, and the required rate has now hit 11, so up by another 1. But again, these two are putting themselves in a position where if they can get that one really big over, or if Gloucestershire get a little profligate or something and give away a set of 5 wide, something like that, that really does.
See, at the moment, only
put the fielding side under pressure.
Only 4 extras on that card, and more than 20 in the Gloucestershire innings from Leicestershire. So, isn't it? Perhaps a factor as well. Some traffic in the air over the ground, and Izzy Patel's going to have a bowl from the Ashley Down Road end. First bowl for her in this match with Meg Ahern stood up, and that's struck powerfully away by Grayson. She'll take 2. In fact, there might even be an overthrow if they're not careful, and there will be. A run given away there. The fielding was done by Reddy out on the boundary. Got a throw away early, but at the non-striker's end it wasn't gathered. And as a result, Leicestershire get 3 for a shot that really should only have attained no more than a couple. Patel in, it'll pick up 1.
Very important stop that.
Interesting they've actually turned to Patel, the 7th different bowler. He'll bowled 3 overs for 13, which was a miserly effort in relative terms from that end. Grayson waits, and that's wound up, and a good pick out of the fielder up or straightish.
It's sort of deep extra, isn't it?
Well, it kind of is. It's an odd position.
Wide, long off deep extra. It's a position you see a lot more in the women's game than in the men's.
Very wide indeed. And more work again here for Reddy. She's had to chase to her left up by the scoreboard, and they'll come back for 2. So they're having to work hard for their runs in this over, Leicestershire.
But again, they're doing so well, these two, is they are exploiting gaps and they are pouncing on opportunities for extra runs. They haven't hit many boundaries, but they're still just clinging on in terms of the required rate.
Drive, yes, again from Tika Singh. She works that single into the leg sides. He's not going to get 2. Oh no. And it's Bird with the throw to the non-striker's end. So still 8 off the over. Yes, clinging is right, I think. In relative terms, 88 for 5. At this point, Gloucestershire 106 for 3. So in a much stronger position. The only thing from a Leicestershire perspective, they've got 2 batters who look relatively well set. But the time is against them.
Yes, at some point, they're going to need to, I suppose, not just rely on gap finding 2s, 3s, there will come a point when they really do have to start hitting boundaries, and then
probably
the question is, can they?
Only one
do
more quiet over, I would think.
Daniels is back. Again, Tika Singh not taking a huge risk and finding a single. But I think, yes, an enormous credit to this partnership, because there have been a couple of points in this innings when they were 5 for 3 and 45 for 5. Each of those positions, they've looked at that and they've problem solved well in terms of how to get themselves back into the match. But now they have to find a way not only of getting themselves back into the match, but getting ahead of the match. And 57 required off 28 is starting to look a tall order, even though Gloucestershire haven't run through Leicestershire. The runs on the board are there, the pressure's there, and forcing an attempted big shot. Just a leg by. Liv Daniels still got 1 over left after this, and she's not an easy bowler to get away. Just enough variation. You know she's going to keep it relatively straight, you know roughly the line she's going to bowl, but excellent variation. And just tossed up a bit more. There's just the one. I suppose the other factor here is now these two have been out there for a fair amount of time. It's not quite as red hot as it was, the weather, but it's still 23 degrees and sunshine. And can they keep up that sort of running for another, quarter of an hour, 20 minutes? Oh, did she just get a little bit on that to save herself? I'll come back for 2. And just a little outside edge from Grayson that prevented her from being stumped. That close, Gloucestershire, to breaking this partnership and getting the wicket that they would feel would have them pretty close to wrapping this one up. That's a lovely shot. That'll be 4. Leicestershire far from done here. Finding the gap between mid-off and extra cover. Solid strike along the ground, but always bisecting the field. Got to the pitch of it.
50 partnership between these two.
Excellent effort. 47 deliveries, but they're still just knocking on the door, and Gloucestershire will know this is a game they should win from here, but equally they're in a way, they're the sort of the side under pressure, because they're the ones that will be expecting to win. Home crowd, chance to keep the end goal in sight as far as top 3 in the table.
And they would be annoyed, I think, in a way, if they won by 15 and they didn't get that extra bonus point from this position. Leicestershire have got to score 20 from here to deprive Gloucestershire of a bonus point. I think 116, we think, is the magic number. Anyway, we're going to see Caitlin Belcher back for her last over. So Liv Daniels going to her most successful bowler so far to try and split these two up. Wide outside the off stump when we get a wide first up. Just got to not go too mad at this from this position from Caitlin's point of view. There's the joy from earlier on. And who can blame her?
Yeah, now I suppose you're in a different situation, aren't you? You come back in terms of bowling. Late in a game, pressure's on.
Belcher in, again worked into the leg side. They'll want 2, and they'll get to, just because it's the deft weight of shot from Faith Tika Singh here. And the 100 up for Leicestershire in the 17th over. They need 146, of course, to win. And they, at the moment, they look as they're going to be just short. Probably. But he wants one biggish over or one streaky over, and that's an edge that's gone for 4. Nothing Belcher could do about that. It was Tika Singh inside the line, tried to play it forcefully through the offside, but there was nobody at third man on the fence. So it goes through the ring and it's racing away.
And that is what you're going to have happen to you at times. Bowling quick at the back end of an innings, swing hard, get any sort of bat on it, and it flies.
Belcher again, and hit in the air towards Emily Geach, who's juggled it and caught it. That's the wicket they want. Little bit of a grab in the end, but critically for Gloucestershire, Tika Singh is out for 32. Her first real swat that she's played.
I think that was almost literally straight down her throat.
But
she held on.
Just literally right by her throat, but got enough on it to cling on in the end. But a good partnership between Tika Singh and Grayson. It's given Leicestershire just a slim chance. Now somebody has got to come in and put bat to ball with some venom here. And Lucy Weston walking out at number 8. So Anjali Katan, April Harathki and Emma Thatcher still to come. But their batting in this competition would not suggest they are going to do a massive amount to help matters. Weston does have a 21 in the competition.
Well,
So,
yeah, that came in. I think that came in double quick time as well. So, yeah, it's a situation which I suppose it's fairly clear in terms of what's needed.
yeah, well, they're at 2 a ball now. Can Caitlin Belcher with a 3rd wicket, can she really press home the advantage? Weston gets off the mark straight away. Liv Daniels with a partial stop.
Another crucial piece of fielding there. That was probably well hit enough to go to the boundary. So on the whole, Gloucestershire's fielding has been very good here. Held onto their catches, made some key stops.
Belcher to Grayson, all down the leg side, and Grayson could have let that go, but it's going to be possibly a 4. Charlie Phillips is going to on the chase, and the ball just wins the race. It's gone over the rope. Charlie may not know that, but the umpires certainly do. And another boundary for Grayson. That's her 3rd. And there's been a lot happening in this Belcher over.
12 off it, but a wicket.
Yeah, that's the key thing.
The first boundary she can do anything about at all.
Belcher again to Grayson, just pulls out at the last moment. Not sure why that would have been. He wasn't happy about something.
I don't think it could have been anybody moving behind the bowler's arm.
No.
An entire section of the ground cut off.
Batting outside her crease now, Grayson. And she's forced that away through the offside, but there is a boundary rider out there. Prathana Reddy, there's a cry for 2. And they're going to get it.
Well,
So-
it does mean that Grayson's off strike, but that's an excellent over from a Leicestershire point of view in terms of runs. And again, it just seems that Leicestershire are finding a way.
Yeah, 35 off 3. I wonder whether Liv Daniels might go back to spin for the rest of the
Certainly for this next one, anyway.
yeah, for the rest of the innings. After 1 expensive over, Belcher's finished with 3 for 28 from 4 overs, which clearly is a good effort.
Yeah, really exciting comeback, especially the way it started, but coming back and taking a wicket in that over as well Now it's up to the captain.
You would say that bonus point is now almost certainly out of the equation.
Yeah, now they're coming back for a second run. This is going to be a wicket. This time, the attempt to go for the extra run does not pay off. And Izzy Patel launching the throw in from deep cover. Plenty of time for Meg Ahern to remove the bails. And I do wonder a little bit about that, because surely Leicestershire wanted Grayson on strike, and okay, trying to get as many runs as possible as quickly as possible, but there was never really a second run on there, and especially because the single would have put Grayson on strike, who is going to have to be the one to get Leicestershire over the line here, you feel. Surely you'd want her facing as many deliveries as possible, and now 7 wickets down as well gives Gloucestershire 2 ways to win the game: restrict and take the remaining wickets.
Yeah, there was just not some logical thinking there from that pair at that point, particularly in terms of who should be on strike.
Again, it is that...
Grayson is still in, but she's at the wrong end.
I suppose that time of the innings where things can get a little scrambled sometimes. It does happen. And now a chance for Daniels to trap the new batter on strike as well. And the longer Grayson spends at the non-striker's end, the more she potentially feels that she has to go for bigger shots than she'd like. Again, beaten on the outside edge. And the crowd will applaud every dot ball. It's almost to the point, really, where they'd be applauding singles, because anything that's not a boundary suits the home side. Swung away in the air for a time, well short of deep square. Belcher, in a way, she's actually got plenty of time there, because I'm not saying they're happy for Leicestershire to have a 2 in that instance, but it means less if it's Herathke going back to the striker's end.
What does Grayson do here?
Well, since she's got a choice, really. 33 off 14. Leicestershire need a boundary. Well, they'll take a wide.
She probably wants a 4 and a single.
Yes.
Probably at the ideal end.
Or 2 boundaries, and then if Herathke could get her back on strike at the start of the next over. Cut away. Fielder there at backward point. The throw will go to the non-striker's end. And Daniels sure-handed, because if that gets by, potentially another run can be taken. And now, I don't know what Herathke does really, because they don't want a single here, Leicestershire, but sort of need something. Swatted away. She says no. So they really didn't want a single. And, well, Herathke has decided that she's just going to say to Grayson, you're the one that's going to have to win this for us. And an excellent over from Daniels. You sort of wouldn't expect anything less from her. She has set such high standards for herself, for this team as a whole.
One for 25 from her 4 overs today.
Comes back in late and bowls a critical over, doesn't go for a boundary, and makes, I suppose, in theory, the rest of her bowlers' lives easier for the remaining 2 overs.
Last over from the Ashley Down Road end, Alice Hill. And they'll want 2 from a big swing from Grayson. Bird will chase, and they'll get 2. So now we know that the bonus point is out of the equation. Remember, if Gloucestershire had won by Leicestershire scoring fewer than 116, there might have been another point available. Now they've just got to make sure they win the game. Grayson goes down the ground straight. That's too long, I suspect, for the fielder on the fence, and it is. It's the first 6 of the match. That's a big hit from there.
Well, that really does change it, doesn't it? And it puts the Gloucestershire fielding side now very much on notice that Grayson is seeing it well and has the power to clear the boundary rope.
Riley Monday on the fence, but too much for her. What's the answer from Hill? That's bunted straight down the ground, and Monday will stop it. Will she? No, that's gone for 4. Almost a parry from her, but not quite enough. It was a full toss. And Monday trying to almost push it back into play. And in 2 balls, Leicestershire have got themselves down to 19 needed. Hill again has to flower a slower ball. Clever, because there's no pace for Grayson to do anything with that. And they've now got Herathke on strike. They would like 2 dots to get her out of this over against the Leicestershire number 9. Hill's pack the offside field. Herathke goes for a big paddle. They don't really want 2 there, but there's the single is okay from a Gloucestershire point of view. Now from Leicestershire, with Grayson 1 shy of a well-built 50 this.
Yeah.
Sensibly batted. Kept her team in the game. And Hill to Grayson, who will just take one. Will she? But she might be run out, and she is. Oh, dear, dear, dear. She's set off for the single, and she's run out by Alice Hill, trying to keep the strike. And a critical wicket off the last ball of the 19th over. Grayson run out for 49. See what she was trying to do, but it was a gentle clip, and fair play to Hill. She just did the calm thing and gave umpire Chandaria a very easy decision to call. That's probably it from Gloucestershire, but my word, Grayson has made them just worry a bit, particularly in that last over when she went 2-6-4 at the start of it.
Yeah, you could see exactly what she was after, because they'd got what? They would have had 15 off that over if she'd been able to keep the strike, and then it would have been basically the same in the last over. A couple of big shots, and Leicestershire might have got some. Yeah, they might, even a tie or something out of the game. But unfortunately, she hit it to the one place where she wasn't going to get a single, right back to the bowler. And Gloucestershire will hope that their life made much easier with Thatcher out in the middle and on strike as well. Phillips to bowl the last over. And another single. Phillips will just hold it. Might in another instance have decided to have a shy at the non-striker's end, but 16 off 5. Gloucestershire will know that as long as they don't give any easy opportunities away, there's every chance they can close this out. Appeal for a stumping, which is turned down, but asking 9 and 10 to clear the boundary from pretty much the start of their innings is a tough ask in any situation, no matter how deep your batting lineup is. So it's just like that for a ball from a position where, if Grayson was still there, Leicestershire would have had every thought that they could still have won that game. Firmly struck. It's between 2 fielders out there, so they should be able to come back for a second run, which they will just about make. It's a good throw in from Reddy. Well placed. But Gloucestershire 1 ball closer to victory.
You and I were talking at halfway about Leicestershire's chases this season, and they haven't chased a score around about this. They've chased a couple of smaller ones, but not quite as many as there's to win.
In the air, over the offside, it won't be a boundary. Patel fields on the bounce, so 13 off 2 6s to tie without extras is the best that the Foxes can get to. And from Phillips's point of view, no wides and foot behind the line. Along the ground, and that will put even that mathematical opportunity for Leicestershire out of reach. So Gloucestershire will claim their 4th win of the T20 Blast campaign and will keep their shot at finals day alive with Northamptonshire to play. Last ball of the game coming up. And up in the air, chance of a catch. Bird running in and takes it. And Gloucestershire finish in style, but they were pushed there by Leicestershire. The early wickets from Caitlin Belcher, really one of the key differences in this game, as Gloucestershire posted that score of 145 for 8. We weren't entirely sure exactly where that stood at halfway. It certainly looked an awful lot better when Leicestershire were 5 for 3 and 45 for 5. But that partnership, you can see it there. Grayson 49 off only 33 balls. Tika Singh built well too, 32 to her. And whilst Grayson was there was every chance that Leicestershire could burgle a win at the end. But Gloucestershire held their nerve and they have emerged victorious in this game by a margin of 11 runs.
Yeah, in fact, as far as the 19th over, Leicestershire would say they were not out of that match at all. There are the bowling figures. 3 wickets for Caitlin Belcher at the top of the roster there. 2 of them in the power play. Charlie Phillips with 2 wickets, including 1 off the last ball, and 1 each for Liv Daniels and for Alice Hill. That partnership for Leicestershire between Tika Singh and Grayson worth 59 in the end, and that was the one that really turned their boat round. It was heading firmly for troubled waters when they came together, but they gave themselves a chance. What's the phrase? You stay in the game. Cliche Claxon again. But, you know, stay in the game. And they were, albeit with a slim chance, in the game right into that 19th over, particularly when Grayson went 2-6-4. And if she'd have maintained the strike right to the end, well, who knows, they might have really pulled a surprise victory out of the fire. But in the end, Gloucestershire win by 11 runs. It's their 4th victory, and they go to Northampton on Sunday with a chance, mathematical, if they can win, of getting involved in the end of season playoffs. Hope you enjoyed our coverage today. It's been a very watchable game, albeit a standalone game without the men's game to follow. Thanks to James for his stuff on the cameras, as ever. Ed will be back with you tomorrow for the men's match against Surrey. Remember, not on the stream, on his BBC, wearing his BBC hat tomorrow with Mark Church. And the conclusion, of course, of this group will be, I'm sure, covered by our colleagues at Northamptonshire on Sunday afternoon.
Yes, part of a double header up there.
Yeah. So do follow it on the stream, and who knows where Gloucestershire's men and indeed the women may be by the end of this weekend in their respective T20 campaigns. Enjoy your weekend, whatever you're doing. If it contains cricket, all well and good. If you're doing other stuff, we fully understand. But I think the sun's going to shine anyway. Go safely on the roads, and we'll see you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.